Coaches always tell their teams you can't live on memories, but for fans of the Backyard Brawl, that's all they've had for 4 years. Now, after 1,407 long, lonely days, Penn and Mishawaka get a chance to make some new memories tonight. There's a new generation of Paulus and Fisher on the field, but the same old story of Princess City neighbors battling for bragging rights. So strap up, the brawl is back. Mishawaka visits Penn next on 46. The hottest ticket in town is for this site right here. You are looking at Everwise Freed Field in Mishawaka, where the 65th renewal of the Backyard Brawl is about to happen. The 5th-ranked Mishawaka Cavemen have come a-calling on the 9th-ranked Penn Kingsmen for this edition of the 46 Game of the Week. How you doing, everybody? With the Hall of Famer Bo Hunt and Angelo DiCarlo on the sidelines, it's Chuck Freeby. So great to have you with us on a perfect night for high school football in Michiana. And Ange, we'll start with you because as good as these two teams are, the storylines are even more delicious.
Oh, absolutely. No matter when these two teams play, whatever the sport, these two schools, it's electric. And the atmosphere for Penn and Mishawaka is always electric. You add in they have not played in 4 years, well, then you're getting record crowds. You're getting crowds you don't see for high school football in this era. And that's what we're going to see here tonight between these two teams who, as you said, are both very good.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that they're both ranked in the top 10. Mishawaka, as we mentioned, number 5 in the AP poll. So let's turn to the Hall of Famer Bo Hunt. And we know that Brady Fisher is good at quarterback. We know Novell Miller can run the ball. How good is Mishawaka in the trenches?
I think that's one of the things we got to really look at. And as our game last week, LaVille was rebuilding the trenches with their hosses up front. And Mishawaka, I think they do a very good job of replacing those guys year in and year out, especially with the way they run their offense. It's kind of one of those things where they teach it at a small or a younger age, and they build those guys up. So they're going to be definitely good up front.
All week long, Keith Kinder tried to keep this low key. He came here and he realized that it's not low key anymore.
Well, you know, it's hard to quantify, but then you get here, you know, you try to undersell it all week, and you get here and it's different, right? You know, so to me, it's something that I grew up watching. You know, as a newspaper reporter, I sat up there and covered games. I sat in Steel Stadium and covered games. But for our kids, it's just an exciting opportunity to play against kids that they've known their whole lives, you know? And then, you know, you got kids that their parents went to Penn that are on our team and, you know, the other way around. So just, it really is a community event.
Penn moved into the top 10 of Class 6A after whacking the number 1 team in 5A, Valparaiso, the defending state champs. Oh, by the way, on their home field last week. Everybody wants to talk about the Penn defense. They have 10 seniors returning. But, Bo, I honestly think this may be the most explosive offense Corey Yeoman has had in his 21 seasons.
When you look at Penn year in and year out for the past 10, maybe 20 years, it's always been about the defense. It's stop everything on defense, and our offense is going to put up 10 to 17 points, and we're going to win every single ball game. This year, they could possibly put up 30 to 40 points every single game because they've opened that playbook and they've used their playmakers to the best of their ability.
Marcus Freeman and Corey Yeoman getting the same question this week. How do you stop the option?
Well, you know what? I don't know if you stop it. You just got to control it and try to, you know, I think that always starts with the beauty of football. It's the greatest team sport that there has ever been invented. And it's going to take all 11 guys to do it, and everybody doing their job. And you have to trust the guy next to you is doing his job and not being selfish and doing something he's not supposed to. Now, that's a little easier said than done when you see all the moving parts happening. But that's what you have to do. And it still boils down to getting off blocks and tackling and doing that. And then the other side of the ball is doing things you want to do offensively and being able to move the sticks and get first downs and possess the football and make plays and flipping the field and doing all the things we need to do offensively. And then special teams have got to be special for us.
The noted philosopher Tom Petty was absolutely right. The waiting is the hardest part. But you've waited 1,407 days. What's a couple more minutes? We've got the St. Joe County Police Department pregame show with our keys to win, and that's next on the 46 Game of the Week.
This is the WHME TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week. Brought to you by Bill's Heating, Health Markets, Tony Letcher, St. Joseph County Police Department, Martin's Supermarkets, Tire Rack, HealthLink, Raising Cane's, Crown Trophy, API St. Andrews Products, Imagineering Finishing Technologies, and the IHSAA.
And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Bill's Heating, keeping families and businesses comfortable since 1951. A perfect night for football here at Everwise Freed Field as Mishawaka visits Penn for the 65th renewal of the Backyard Brawl. The Kingsmen making their way out into that big helmet, and then they'll come bursting through. And likely with this crowd here tonight, you'll hear the roar all the way to Granger. Mishawaka has already come out onto the field and stands in front of its stands, waiting for Penn to amass in that giant helmet. And when they come crashing through, you will hear the crowd here tonight, as well as the strains of the Penn band. They have waited, as we've mentioned, 4 years for this. 1,407 days. The seniors, who thought that this would be the rivalry, the bellstone of their career, have never had a chance to play with their friends from Mishawaka, but now they do tonight. You see the crowd assembled here. They're hoping to get 8,000 into this facility tonight. That's about what it seats. As we wait for the Kingsmen to come bursting through. They're starting to rock and roll, and here they come. So with that said, let's introduce you to our keys to the game tonight for Mishawaka. They're led by their senior quarterback, Brady Fisher, 6'3", 220 pounds, the unflappable senior. Threw for 53 yards last week, but rushed for 98 and a pair of touchdowns. And his favorite guy to hand it off to is Novell Miller, the 5'9", 200-pound baby bull of a junior. 16 carries, 78 yards, and 3 tutties. He scampered for 850 yards last season. The keys for the Cavemen.
The keys tonight to win for the Cavemen. Possessions is 9/10 of the law. Well, every single one's going to count for the Cavemen tonight. They need to hold on that ball, and they need to cause turnovers as well. They need to end drives with points. They would like to have 8, 10-play drives, pick up first down after first down, but they got to put points on the board, and they need to limit the big plays. They can't let the speed of the Penn offensive players on the outside get some big plays on offense or on special teams.
As for the Penn Kingsmen, the key to their offense is also their quarterback, also a senior. His name is Nolan McCullough, 6'3", 198 pounds. He threw for 215 yards and ran for 187 last week in the win over Valparaiso, and he has really worked on his leadership skills. He gets a lot of help from his buddy in the backfield, Jake Bayless, 5'10", 198-pound senior, strong as an ox. He ran for 114 yards and 3 touchdowns in last week's win over Valparaiso. The keys for the veteran Corey Yeoman and the Kings.
The keys to win tonight for the Cavemen, or the Kingsmen, they need to move the chains. They need to make sure every single drive they at least pick up 1 to 2 first downs to take some time off that clock. And special teams need to be special tonight. They believe that they have an edge in this area and that they need to be special and put up some extra special things tonight and stay disciplined in assignments. Their defense has their work cut out for them with this Caveman option that they got to defend against.
This is the 65th meeting between the two schools. Penn owns a dominating 48-15-1 lead. This dates back to 1965, and Penn won the last meeting 4 years ago by a score of 21-13. Mishawaka has won the toss and elected to receive. Our weather tonight brought to you by Ashley Smith at Howard Hanna and South Bend Real Estate. She wants you to know it's like this in South Bend all the time. 78 degrees, a little gentle zephyr out of the northwest at 7 miles an hour, and just a 15% chance of rain.
First quarter tonight's going to be sponsored by Hardware Plus. They're a proud supporter of high school sports and has been Osceola's favorite local hardware store for nearly a century. Featuring a wide selection of products and customer service experts, Hardware Plus, where service begins with the words, "How can I help you?" and a handshake.
Local officiating crew for this one tonight, that's the veteran Rick Podell. He's assisted by Roger Griffith, Michael Burke, Mark McCammon, and Phil Tusky. The IHSAA always looking for people to join the officiating ranks in every sport. As you take a look at Nolan McCullough warming up on the Penn sideline. Bo, you were part of some great rivalry games with Bremen and Jimtown, and that is probably the one rivalry that kind of compares to this one.
Yep.
What was that intensity like right before the game?
Well, the intensity out there right before the game, you got a lot of jitters going, especially if you're a younger guy, maybe a freshman, sophomore playing in that game. But as you got older, junior and senior, it was a more about just the game itself. You weren't about the X's and O's or anything like that because you had prepared so much throughout the week that after the kickoff, it settled down a little bit, but that first drive is always very important.
Dylan D'Addario will do the kicking for Penn. Brady Newsom is back deep for Mishawaka. And when toe meets leather, the 2023 version of the Backyard Brawl will be underway in the Princess City. Newsom from his 2. Newsom galloping. And all the way down to the 42-yard line. Special teams were huge on the opening kickoff for Mishawaka last week when Ethan Bryce took one all the way back. It sets the Cavemen up well here tonight.
Yeah, it never gets better than starting from your own 41-yard line to start this first half on the opening kickoff. Little breakdown on the Penn coverage team right there, but Newsom with a great job of reading his blocks.
There's Brady Fisher, the All-Northern Lakes Conference quarterback a year ago, was also a junior All-State. Beats more teams in this triple option with his feet than his arm, but that does not mean that he cannot throw it. Novell Miller is the back behind Fisher. And it's Fisher keeping it and getting to the outside. Stiff arms a Penn defender and takes it up for the first down into Penn territory at the 47-yard line. The first down sponsored by ASA Electronics. Let's meet this Mishawaka attack. Brady Fisher, the quarterback, Miller in the backfield along with Caden Smith and Ethan Bryce. And on that offensive line, Matt Willis is the only returning starter from a year ago.
Great job on the fake on that first play. I actually thought Miller had the ball going up the middle, and Fisher just pulled it out the last second and was able to pick up a big first down on the first play of the game.
11 yards on the carry. And the Cavemen already in Penn territory. And you see the danger of this option offense, one that Penn doesn't see very often. It's Miller up the middle, and he got smashed right at the line of scrimmage. A rather rude greeting by the interior of the Penn defense, whom you'll meet right now. Ryan Frazier and Alan Phillips on the tackle there. They are on a defensive line headed up by Evan Witten. The linebackers very solid. Jackson Griffith and Tommy Paulus add veteran leadership. And then 3/4 of the secondary back from a year ago. Vinnie Freeman, the only sophomore in the starting lineup. It's 2nd and 9. Not much difference in the formation here for Mishawaka. Now they put Bryce in motion, and they had two guys going in motion at the same time. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. Ball pops loose, and Penn is on it. But I think Rick Podell is going to say this play was blown dead.
Yeah, they had two guys in motion to start the play. So right at that point right there, they're going to blow it dead.
Well,
oh, no, that's you're right.
Penn got confused because they saw Rick Podell pointing in the direction of the penalty.
Yeah.
And they thought, oh, he's saying it's our ball. He's not. He's saying the ball was blown dead.
Yeah.
And on the illegal shift. And Corey Yeoman not exactly enamored with the call. But it's awfully tough to hear whistles tonight because it is so loud here.
Yeah, they had two guys in motion on that play. Neither one of them got set. You can't have two guys shift at the same time, but they just have to get set. The difference between that is they snapped the ball while those two guys were still moving.
So normally you talk about penalties being drive killers, but in this point, it's a drive keeper because it moves Mishawaka back to its own 49, but it keeps them in possession of the football.
The 57th annual Blueberry Festival is coming up Labor Day weekend. Bring the whole family for great food and great family fun. Check out the festivities at blueberryfestival.org.
But the Cavemen behind the chains on 2nd and 14. Fisher keeps it himself, and he's off to the races. One man to beat, and they're gonna not get him. It's a touchdown for Mishawaka, 51 yards, and a flag comes out for spiking the football.
Well, Fisher at 6'3", 220, he's a big hoss going through that middle line, but he's got speed as well. And you saw that right there in that last play on the instant replay sponsored by R&B Car Company.
Made a perfect read, found the hole, and just kept on running for a touchdown sponsored by the Mishawaka Pro Firefighters Local 360. The unsportsmanlike conduct will be issued on the kickoff. The emotions getting the better that time of Brady Fisher. Can't blame him for being excited, but this is not the NFL.
No, and being a senior, this is the first time he's had a chance to play Mishawaka or Penn in the big setting like this, you're going to be excited when you score in a long run, opening series of the game.
Keith Kinder with questions for the officiating crew as to whether he has any say in this. He doesn't.
Fisher running away from that D reminds me of that Barnaby's today. We'd like to thank them of being our sponsor for feeding our crew tonight. Barnaby Pizza in Mishawaka on Grape Road, Granger, and now in Twin Branch. You'll always find delicious pizza and relaxed family atmosphere. Order online at MishawakaBarnabys.com.
Lucas Larson is the kicker for Mishawaka. He was 4 out of 5 on extra points last week. Brady Fisher is the holder on this play. The snap, the set down, and the kick are all good. We have played only a minute 55, and the lightning strikes courtesy of Brady Fisher. The big fella goes a-rumbling for 51 and 6 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by Tire Rack. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. So Keith Kinder's Mishawaka Cavemen find themselves ranked 5th in the AP poll this week. Fort Wayne Snyder very impressive in week 1, picking up an opening week win. And how about the Concord Minutemen winning at Rice Field last week to move into the 10 spot?
Well, we looked at Concord and we were like, you know, what are we going to expect over there with Craig's team? And I think we know what we're going to expect, another quality team from the Concord Minutemen. By the way, that factoid brought to us by our friends at Uptown Kitchen in Granger. Great to have them with us tonight. Great to have you, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, the IHSA Champions Network, or on TV46. Great atmosphere for high school football here at Everwise Freed Field tonight. Now, Mishawaka will have to go all the way back to its own 25 for this kickoff. So Penn should get outstanding field position out of this. Yeah, they took it on that unsportsmanlike on the kickoff rather than on the extra point to really put them back. That way Penn will get a little bit better field position here on the kickoff. And man, it's a track team back deep for Penn because you've got Elijah Coker as the deep man. What are you pointing out? You're seeing something funny about the way he's teeing it up, aren't you? Yeah, you look at that football out there. There you get a good look at it. That's a straight squib kick approach right there. They're not going to try to let Penn get any type of return here. But that should improve the field position even more for the Kingsmen. Larson bounces it up the middle of the field, and it gets by Coker, who has to fall on it. No, he'll pick it up at the 30 and get it to the 39, but it did limit the return. A lot of times on those squib kicks, that ball just bounces. I mean, it's a football. It's not round, and they can bounce any which direction. And a lot of times those squib kicks are successful. And Elijah Coker's a long jumper. He's not a shortstop. Yeah. There you see Nolan McCullough at quarterback for the Penn Kingsmen. 6'3", 198 pounds, and the senior. Threw for 215 and ran for 187 in the win over Valpo last week. Jake Bayless is his running back off to the right-hand side. Cole Bennett, the tight end, in motion. It's Bayless off the left side. And Bayless strung out of bounds on the play. Good pursuit by the Mishawaka Cavemen. They knock him out after 2. You get a look at the Penn offense. Besides those two we mentioned, Kellen Watson, Elijah Coker, big speedsters on the outside. Bennett, the tight end, had a good week last week. And Auden Jones, the bell cow of this Penn offensive line, 6'3", 335 pounds, and a senior. Bayless picks up 2 on the play. It's 2nd and 8. Elijah Coker wide right. McCullough rolling that way. Has a man open, and it is Coker who makes the catch for a first down. He'll go down at the 48-yard line, but there's a flag on the play back at the Penn 39 as you look at the Mishawaka defense. Carmine Orozco, a D1 talent at defensive end. Jackson Snyder, the leading tackler on the team last week. Good secondary, headed up by Jack Troyer and Trey Thomas, a pair of veteran corners. Lions judge on the far side called that penalty. I'm not sure if they had somebody covered up on that play.
It is
Yep.
an ineligible man downfield. And that will bring the play back.
Yeah, I think they had one of the receivers who was covered. Might have been Coker that was actually covered.
Well, I think Coker did the covering, but another man, Watson, went downfield. And Watson, because he was covered on the play, was unable to go downfield.
Hometown Pharmacy in Mishawaka can help with prescription refills and custom packaging, medication management, functional medicine, compounding, vaccines, and more. All designed to help you and your family live healthier and enjoy more time for the things you love. Hometown Pharmacy.
Mishawaka scored a touchdown on its 2nd and long. What will Penn do here from the 36? They'll run with Jake Bayless to the outside, and Bayless running hard, takes it forward for about 9 yards on the play and sets up Penn with about a 3rd and 4.
Here you can see on the R&B Car Company replay, great bounce outside. He gets it, he heads up the middle, read the hole, bounced it outside, took on the tackler, picked up a good chunk of 8 yards there.
He's got some nice shiftiness to him. You think of Jake Bayless and you think of the strength and the weight room videos you see on social media. What you don't see is the agility.
Yeah, and you don't see that a lot of times until you actually get in the game and get in game situations.
Play clock already down to 8. McCullough looking over to the sideline, wanted to change the play. He's going to give it to Bayless up the middle. That's a 1st down for Penn all the way to the Caveman 43. It's sponsored by Klein Custom Homes.
Great read on that play, calling the audible, giving it up the middle. He must have read something. Linebackers are around the outside. They came up a little bit too quick on that and got out of the play.
Pat Connery, the guard, with a great push block to the outside that time to give Bayless some room to run. 1st and 10 from the 43. Tayshawn Bardo in the game. He goes wide to the far side of the field, but it's Bayless coming around the left side. Bayless couldn't get around the tackler. A beautiful open field tackle for Mishawaka that time. Is coming up and making the hit was Jack Troyer, the cornerback, and you'll get another look from the R&B Car Company replay. He held Bayless to a gain of 2.
That was a great open field tackle there. Came up, wrapped up, held on, and then the rest of your teammates came to finish him off.
Good pursuit to the ball that time. Troyer, the returning starter, a 3-sport athlete at Mishawaka, where he also plays basketball and track. Kingsman down 7, about midway through the 1st quarter. McCullough keeps it himself. Oh, a little bit of option right back in Mishawaka's face. And McCullough will take it all the way up to the 36 and set up a 3rd and 3.
Martin's Supermarkets, groceries to go. Annual subscriptions are now available, just $29.99 for the year. Get ad pricing, digital coupons, recipes directly from your account. Learn more at martinsgroceries2go.com.
Mobile quarterbacks have really been featured in Corey Yeoman offenses since he took over as the head coach at Penn. Whether you've got guys like Cameron Bone, Zach Oakley, I mean, there is a long litany of good mobile quarterbacks at Penn, and McCullough fills the bill. And we got movement on the line of scrimmage. And offside against Mishawaka. The encroachment will cost the Caveman 5 and give Penn a 1st down, sponsored by Klein Custom Homes.
That's a big ability by the Penn Kingsman to move the chain without even running the play, get that 1st down, get even closer to the red zone.
And that's a veteran quarterback going up against a younger, a little more inexperienced defense on the front, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you're in your 1st series coming down the field, and you already change the cadence and get them to jump off sides. I mean, that's just a very smart move by Nolan.
McCullough oversees the situation. And it's McCullough keeping it again. Great read on the option. Bouncing off of people and taking it all the way down to a Mishawaka 14. Make it the 13. A great pickup of 18 yards on the play for Nolan McCullough, and a Klein Custom Homes 1st down.
Here's the R&B Car Company replay. You can see Snyder comes in, has the ability to make the tackle, just ran too far past McCullough and wasn't able to wrap up. Could have had him in the backfield.
Again, some real good blocking up front by that Penn offensive line, clearing the path for McCullough. I think it might have been Connery again that time. McCullough's got man coverage on the outside. but he's going to keep it with Bayless on the left-hand side, and Bayless is brought down on a nice open field tackle by Ken Clemente, the sophomore linebacker who missed last week because he didn't have enough practices. He had to miss quite a few practices during the summer because of the death of a relative down in Puerto Rico. So he missed the Marion game, comes back and makes a good tackle here.
ASA Electronics has been the leading industry in settling the benchmark for mobile technology solutions since 1977. The ASA family of brands is proudly partnered with companies like UPS, Caterpillar, Mastercraft, John Deere, Winnebago, and more.
Second down, it's Bayless up the middle, lowers the head and bowls into the tackle of Jackson Snyder to get to the 7-yard line. And Penn, once again, this sounds like a broken record on this drive, but they're 3rd and 3.
Yeah, they need to just keep moving that drive down, but great job by the Caveman defense really stepping up on that second down here to make this 3rd down very questionable of what they can call down here in the red zone.
Scoreboard's going to call it 3rd and 4, so we will too. But trust me, folks, it's 3rd and 3. And it's Bayless. Touchdown, Penn. Jake Bayless takes it in from 7 yards out. And the Kingsmen are on the scoreboard.
The play that worked for him throughout this whole drive was Bayless up the middle, and they went back to that play on 3rd and 4 and got the 6 points on the board.
You get another look on the R&B Car Company replay. Look at that hole. By the time anybody laid a hand on him, Jake Bayless was in the end zone for his 4th touchdown of the year.
The Penn Boosters root for the Kingsmen's success in this game and all season, supporting all Penn extracurricular activities. For a $10 donation, you too can show your Penn spirit. Last year, Penn Boosters awarded $79,000 to various academic clubs and teams. Follow them on Facebook or go to pennboosters.org.
Dylan Daddario with the extra point, and we're all knotted up. The offensive fireworks aplenty as Penn pounds it right down the field. Jake Bayless finds pay dirt tied at 7-on-46. This edition of the 46 High School Football Game of the Week being brought to you by Raising Cane's, our one love, craveable chicken finger meals. We love going downstairs for a Bills Heating sideline report. Angelo DiCarlo, both defensive coordinators right now can't be happy campers.
That's right, Chuck. I mean, when we talk about what we expected coming into this game, Keith Kinder said, hey, our team has to be more physical. Offensively, they certainly were. Then we saw Penn's offense. They were very physical. I think it's both defenses trying to catch up right now in the physicality department to try to help out their teams.
Keith said before the game the B gap would decide this. Well, the defenders in the B gap are getting Fs right now.
That is true. Fishers was right up the middle as well. And Bayless, same thing. 3-4 plays that he had right up the middle, picked up big yardage on that drive for the Kingsmen.
Dylan Daddario about to kick off. Brady Newsom, the deep man, had a great return on the first one of 40 yards. So Daddario with a little more of a pooch kick here that Penn will take at the 16-yard line. Drew Ginter on the return, and he's upended at the 30.
Hey, football fans, what's on the menu at your next tailgate? Allow us to suggest catering from Papa Vino's or Uptown Kitchen. At Papa Vino's, you'll find an unmistakable Italian, unbelievably good selection of pastas. Uptown Kitchen has all your breakfast and lunch favorites. Call today and book your next appointment.
Brady Fisher, the third in a legacy of Fishers who have matriculated through Mishawaka. Of course, Dad Mike, a principal in one of the middle schools, and then CJ made a game-winning hit out here about 5 years ago. Justin was a quarterback who's now at Notre Dame, and here's Brady Fisher at quarterback, handing it off to Novell Miller, and there was nothing there that time as the Penn defensive line smothers Miller after a pickup of one. Good tackling on the interior that time by Jackson Griffith, the middle linebacker.
I think that's one area that Penn said we are not letting them get any yards up the middle with Miller, and they've just shut him down so far here. in the first quarter.
But Fisher is a smart quarterback, and he'll adjust.
Yeah, I think that's what he did on some of the on the second play, or their second long that they had for the touchdown. Was he read it? They all crashed in on Miller, and he was able to keep it and take it right up the middle himself.
And the reason we know Brady's smart is he's one of our Tony Letcher Health Market Student Athletes of the Week. Fisher pitches out. This is Ethan Bryce trying to get around the corner, and did. Picked up about 4 or 5 on the play, though. Mark him out of bounds at the 37-yard line. That's a 6-yard pickup for Bryce. And you'll get another look at this one from R&B Car Company. Bryce only had 15 yards rushing last week in the win over Marion.
Yeah, you saw that one right there. Miller didn't even get the ball, but yet he got stood up and took a big hit right up the middle as well. So they're definitely keying on him, and they're going to hit him every time he gets even a fake up the middle.
But here's Mishawaka sitting in prime territory for the option. 3rd and 2. And we've seen enough of Keith Kinder over the year. It's not necessarily an automatic. They're going to punt it on 4th down.
Great time for Fisher to fake and just follow the lead.
Well, he's a straight handoff to Novell Miller, and he went behind the left side of that line and picked up 4 and a first down. The first down sponsored by ASA Electronics.
THK Law LLP is a proud supporter of high school athletics. THK Law has been helping Michiana families with estate planning, elder law, business matters, and litigation for over 25 years. Visit thklaw.com.
The big 300-pound guard, Ethan Williams, moving people out of the way that time. And one thing you notice about this Penn defensive line, when you look at their weights, they're not very big. The biggest guy on that defensive line is 220 pounds. They're fast, they're athletic, but they don't have a ton of size.
Yeah, their speed is what they really rely on, not the size.
Fisher pitches to Ethan Bryce, and Bryce got around the corner before Vinnie Freeman was able to chase him out of bounds at the 45-yard line, but still a pickup of 4 that time for Ethan Bryce. And I think Brady Fisher seeing the same thing down there that you saw from up here. Penn's so focused on Novell Miller right now, it's going to open up some other things.
Yeah, and once they make that adjustment and they start stop keying on the middle up there and start going to the outside and seeing that option and seeing Mishawaka's hitting the corners, then it's the time to hit Miller up the middle.
2nd and 5. Looks like Fisher might be changing the play at the line of scrimmage and letting everybody know. And Fisher wants to throw and has Ethan Bryce wide open. Bryce all the way down, and he'll finally go down at the 30-yard line. They'll spot him down at the 32, and a first down sponsored by ASA Electronics. Beautifully designed play.
Great job on the rollout and just laying it into Bryce, not trying to get him downfield too far, and understanding that it's a nice pickup there.
22 yards on the reception.
Mishawaka doesn't throw often, but when they do, Fisher can throw the ball and has some receivers that he can throw to.
Helps when Bryce is that wide open, too.
That is true.
1st and 10. Caden Smith in motion, but it's Novell Miller. And, man, there is some cracking and whacking going on down there tonight.
Miller not able to pick up many yards tonight. He had a little bit back in his energy right there on that play.
Woo.
Right
Did you see the recoil as he went up through the middle? 4 carries, 7 yards for Novell, and he has earned every single one of them.
Oh, yeah, he definitely earned those 3 yards right there. Legs driving up the middle.
But Mishawaka getting positive yardage out of it. They're at the Penn 29, looking at about a 2nd and a short 6. Caden Smith in motion. Here's Miller again, slicing off the right side behind his tackle, Matt Wills, and setting up a 3rd and 1.
But when you talk about Mishawaka, you always talk about Kevin Putz and First Midwest Mortgage. If you're in the market to purchase a new home, call our friend Kevin Putz with First Midwest Mortgage at 287-1152. Let Kevin put his 25-plus years of mortgage experience to work for you. Call Kevin Putz at 287-1152.
As the trainers tend to the injured Kingsman down on the field, we'll remind you that Monday night on Pulse FM, Angelo DiCarlo and I discuss what happened in the Notre Dame-Navy game on Saturday and set you up for the home opener against Tennessee State with Notre Dame Federal Credit Union's Irish Football Fix. You can hear it Monday night at 7, and then once it's done, it goes up on the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can hear it on Pulse FM 92.1, 96.9, 103.1. Then don't forget, high school doubleheader for you next week on TV46. We'll start up in Michigan as Scott Shaw and the Niles Vikings make the trek to Lakeshore to take on Danny Thompson's Lancers. Watch it Friday afternoon at 4 or Saturday morning at 11:30. And then the Friday night game comes to you from Venerable School Field in South Bend, where the Riley Wildcats, who have a tough game with John Glenn tonight, take on South Bend Adams, Frank Karszewski's squad. It's the Cats and the Eagles, Friday night 11 to Saturday morning at 9 on your home for high school sports, TV46.
Love going to School Field and watching the South Bend teams play there. It had a lot of memories over the years of covering games there.
You take a look at Keith Kinder in his 6th season on the Mishawaka bench. Keith, 46-15 in his Caveman career as a head coach, has his team poised for a 3rd and 1. And it's Brady Fisher, the quarterback, taking it over for the first down, sponsored by ASA Electronics, as he takes it up the field to the 20-yard line, past the 20 to the 19, a pickup of 4.
William and Kayla Thomas with Grandson Trucking are proud supporters of Penn High School. Their son, number 43, Wilson Thomas, and all the Kingsmen. Have a great game and a great season. That's Grandson Trucking Company, LLC.
By the way, Trayton Caggiano was the injured Penn player, and he's being tended to by the trainers on the sideline with what appears to be a leg injury. Mishawaka looking at a 1st and 10 from the Kingsman 19, waning minutes of quarter number 1. Ball pops loose. Fisher was able to scoop it up and recover it with those good hands back at the 23, but a loss of 4 on the play. You'll get another look from R&B Car Company.
Well, number 1 key to win for the Cavemen was possession, possession, possession. And right there, it looked like he put it in Miller's breadbasket there, but just pulled it out a little too late. Miller clamped down on it and it just kind of spun out.
And somehow found it in the midst of 4 Kingsmen down there on the field. But now Mishawaka looking at a 2nd and 14. Probably right around the range for Lucas Larson to try a field goal, but they're not thinking about that right now. They give it to Fisher, and Fisher, keeping it himself, gets it back to the 20-yard line, but it'll be 3rd and 11 for Mishawaka. And that may well be the last play of the first quarter. We'll see if Keith Kinder wants to pick up the pace and run one more.
The Mishawaka Professional Firefighters Local 360 proudly support our Mishawaka area football players. We are here 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to ensure the safety of our community. If you or someone you know is interested in joining our team, call 574-257-0620 or stop by one of our many stations.
We have anticipated this game for 4 years, and so far it's living up to the billing with plenty of fireworks provided by the Stars. Brady Fisher of Mishawaka, Jake Bayless of Penn. The backyard brawl is tied at 7 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by the St. Joseph County Police Department. Join the team and help protect and serve our community. What a great crowd. There's the Penn student body, and it looks like they got more than a few student bodies at this game tonight. Let's go downstairs for a Bills Heating sideline report. Angelo DiCarlo, fill us in on what you're seeing from down on the field.
A lot of excitement, right? I mean, you can feel the energy from the crowd on both sides of the ball. You can hear the Mishawaka fans roaring. There's about 2,000 fans on that side of the field, expected to be about 6,000 fans on the Penn side of the field, and I think that's just electrifying the players on the field. Every play is amplified that much more, and I think we're starting to see the defenses maybe hoping to settle down here, but again, this is going to be an offensive game, right? It looks like the offenses are able to move the ball.
Been a pretty good drive for the Cavemen so far. The second quarter brought to us by the new Duncan location in downtown Granger. Stop by. It's good enough for Corey Mann. It's good enough for you.
That is true. Stop by the new Duncan on State Road 23 in Granger.
3rd and 11 for Mishawaka to start the second, and they'll give it to Novell Miller, and that did not fool anybody, including Ryland Frazier, the defensive end. The rugby player comes up and makes the tackle. 4th and long for the Cavemen. Decision time, and here comes the field goal unit with Lucas Larson.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that Mishawaka really knows they have to do. When they get down in this area after sustaining a drive, they need to put points on the board. They can't come away with no points here in this situation.
Lucas Larson hit a 37-yard field goal last week in the win over Marion. This one will be 35. The wind, not much of a factor. It's blowing out of the northwest. Good snap. Larson gets the foot into it. It's a line drive kick, and it's missed to the left. The Penn defense is able to hold. And the Kingsmen will take over with a chance to take the lead here in the second.
Time for Tees wants to give you a shout out to the Penn football team and all the Kingsman Nation. Have a great night tonight and all season. Time for Tees can handle your team's screen printing needs. Visit timefortees.com.
Nolan McCullough had 2 carries for 23 yards on that first drive. His workhorse was Jake Bayless. 7 carries, 39 yards, and the touchdown. Let's see how Corey Yeoman's offense attacks things here in a different kind of situation here in the second quarter. And McCullough's going to air it out, or at least try to. Pressure coming, but he finds his man. That's Kellen Watson with the catch as he steps out of bounds at the 36. A first down sponsored by Klein Custom Homes. And Watson, who dazzled crowds here during track season, gets his 4th grab of the season.
Yeah, Watson, one of the fastest kids in northern Indiana, comes across there, has great hands as well, former quarterback as well.
That's right, he was the backup quarterback a year ago on this team. Now moves to wideout, and boy, do they have some speed to the outside. But it's McCullough on the option, and he'll pay the price as he gets spun down at the 41-yard line. A pickup of 5 on the play. Nolan McCullough not exactly a shrinking violet. We talk about the size of Brady Fisher, and while Fisher's got 20 pounds on McCullough, solidly built young man at 6'3", 198.
Yeah, I mean, they got some speed and they got some size as well on the outside. But, yes, in the backfield as well with Bayless and McCullough, I mean, they have some speed on this team.
And McCullough, an athlete himself, he is on the basketball and track squad. So rare 3-sport athlete at Penn High School. 2nd and 5. Movement along the line, nothing flagged. Bayless tries to come up the middle and does. Close to the first down marker. I think he got it. I'll go ahead and give the Klein Custom Homes read because I see the sign saying move the chain.
Score big in the real estate game with Ashley Smith at Howard Hanna SB Real Estate, your trusted local realtor for over a decade, helping you find your winning home. Call Ashley Smith at 574-276-7068 today for a free home valuation today.
Unofficially, we have Penn for 5 first downs so far. 10 minutes to go in the first half. You see the score on the Tire Rack scoreboard. Bayless shuffling his feet, gets it up to the 48 of Mishawaka, so the Kingsmen get into Caveman territory again as Jackson Snyder makes the tackle for Mishawaka. Snyder, a 3-sport athlete for the Cavemen, he's on the basketball team as well, and a pole vaulter. If you're a pole vaulter and a middle linebacker, and nobody has to give you a courage check.
No, not at all. No. Might have to check maybe sometimes if everything's all there all the time.
Sanity, yes. Courage, no. 2nd and 5. Here's McCullough looking to throw. And they've got the screen pass set up to the tight end, Cole Bennett. And Bennett gets forward to about the 41-yard line and picks up another Klein Custom Homes first down. They anticipated the rush coming from Mishawaka, and indeed it did. A 7-yard pickup for the tight end who had a nice week last week against Valpo.
That was a great setup on that play. Went to the left side, came back to the right, had that screen play set up to Bennett. Just a great job and great setup on that play. A lot of plays that we're seeing out of this Kingsman offense that we haven't seen over the past few years. We talked about that before the game, about opening up that playbook just a little bit on offense.
Aiden Deal moving people out of the way that time on the offensive line. Here's Bayless. And look at Bayless get to the outside. Look at those choppy steps taken to the left side, and he'll go out of bounds with another Klein Custom Homes first down. And Mishawaka will get half the distance for a late hit.
A little bit of momentum carried the play out of bounds, but you got to know when to hold up on the end of that play. Here you can see the R&B Car Company replay. Bayless bouncing it to the outside. Great job, and a little push in the back right at the end.
Half the distance to the goal line. I'll put it just outside the Mishawaka 10, I believe.
It's time for your Duncan fix. Please visit the newest location of Duncan and Granger at 12980 State Road 23 in the Martin Shopping Plaza in downtown Granger. Open daily 5 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I would say that's a great location for a Duncan, but I'm not sure there's a bad location for a Duncan.
There is not.
1st and 10. Penn could get a first down without punching it in. Here's McCullough on the option, and he stood up near the line of scrimmage. That's one of the better defensive stands for Mishawaka tonight. As officially, it's no gain on the play for Nolan McCullough. Camden Putz coming in and making the stop that time for the Cavemen. It's a young Mishawaka defense. There are not a ton of seniors in this group. In fact, there's only 3. Jason Martin, the nose tackle, and then the 2 corners, Troyer and Thomas. Can they bow their necks here as the Kingsmen are knocking on the door? 2nd and 10. McCullough over the top, and it is caught out of bounds. Elijah Coker couldn't get the puppies down.
Looked like he had it in his hands, but wasn't able to maintain possession until he was actually out of bounds.
Brady Newsom had the coverage for Mishawaka. Yeah, the right foot came down first, and it was definitely out of bounds.
Hey, if you need a crowd pleaser, Raising Cane's has you covered this school year with the hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crinkle-cut fries, fresh coleslaw, buttery Texas toast, my favorite, and their craveable cane sauce. Order online at raisingcanes.com or through their mobile app, One Love.
McCullough on 3rd and 10, rolls out, lobs to the end zone. Coker out of bounds again, but there's a flag on the play. So Coker makes the grab out of bounds, but let's see what the flag is all about. And you wonder if Penn had another receiver covered up.
Yeah, it looked like that flag came in as they were just going downfield. I call a holding call on Mishawaka.
Oh, that's a big call against the Cavemen. We'll see if we can pick up things on the R&B Car Company replay. McCullough with the lob. You won't see the holding call, but the flag had been thrown already. There was not much question on the out of bounds.
Yeah, McCullough just needs to get that ball down just a little bit. Coker was wide open in the back of the end zone.
Unlike the NFL, this is not an automatic first down. Defensive holding, a 5-yard penalty, the 4th penalty against Mishawaka tonight. But instead of 4th down in a kicking situation, now it's 3rd and 5 from the 5. McCullough again rolls right, looking to run, throws, Coker, this time he got him down, touchdown Penn.
Ran the same exact play with Coker coming from the backside across. This time he said, hey, I'm going to get the throw down, you keep your feet in. Great job, great play, great call.
Elijah Coker is used to taking those feet as long as they can go. He finished third in the state in the long jump. This time he just had to do a little bit of high jump to haul this one down from Nolan McCullough, and it put the Kingsmen in front. Now Dylan Daddario on to try the extra point out of the hold of Austin Eisel. This was a bit of a struggle for Penn last week, but this week everything is clean and the kick is up and good. And with 7:30 to go in the first half, Penn surges out in front. A reading from the prophet Elijah, and it's 14-7 Kingsmen on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, keeping education in front of athletics. There you see Elijah Coker with only his second grab of the season and his first touchdown. He has a 38-inch vertical leap. I don't think he had to quite go that high on the catch, but he went high enough.
Yeah, it's just a great drive by Penn as well. We talked about the playbook, opening up a little bit. A lot of different variables that they used to get down the field that last drive. Really like the way their offense is going, and it was a big stop that they had to hold Mishawaka to a field goal in the last drive. And here again, their defense has a huge advantage to stop them right here and give the ball back to the Kingsmen offense.
Special teams have been big for Mishawaka so far tonight. They helped set up the first score of the game. Let's see what happens here on the Dylan Daddario kickoff. Newsom from the 8. And this time, Mishawaka actually had Jaden Parker back there this time, number 1, not number 0. And Parker takes it up to the 31-yard line. Ryan O'Connell in on the tackle that time. So now you see this Mishawaka offense with Kyle Shaw standing there in the sunglasses, the offensive coordinator, giving them the play as they go in from the sidelines. Kyle, the son of Scott Shaw, the Niles head coach, and we'll see Scott next week here on 46 against Lakeshore.
Kinder and the Cavemen are known to have a few trick plays up their sleeves as well, especially after a score, try to get a quick score back as well.
Meanwhile, Novell Miller, nothing tricky about that. That's 7 yards right up the gut.
Yeah, he's been a force his last 3 carries. He's been right up that middle after his first 4 or 5 carries of not picking up 1 yard, a net gain yard. He's really been a force the last couple of carries.
Both these teams having success as you would expect in the ground game. Mishawaka has run it for 100 yards tonight and Penn for 97. Caden Smith in motion. And the flag comes out. We've got a false start called against Mishawaka. This is the 5th penalty on the Cavemen tonight. Keith Kinder told his team at practice, we have to play clean. And they haven't been able to do that at times tonight.
No, they haven't. There's been times where they haven't been able to play clean at all. And that play right there, they had the motion. And then a lot of times we've seen that in the past with a lot of Marion nice teams where they get guy in motion, then they'll stop, they'll reset, they'll come back. But in that play, they had a couple guys, or a guy jump on the offensive line as well.
And of course, a penalty hurt them on the last drive defensively because it kept the drive alive for Penn and allowed the touchdown to be thrown. Fisher pitches it outside to Ethan Bryce, and there are a lot of black jerseys out there waiting for him.
Flag came in late there as well, like a hold on the backside by the Cavemen.
Taylor Bauer made the tackle, but let's see what the infraction is this time. Rick Podell going to tell Corey Oman about it. It's a chop block on Mishawaka, and Corey says, we'll take the yardage.
They threw it right in that area where a lineman's going to be coming across and trying to get those linebackers from pursuing. And a lot of times you get a holding call or that call right there, a little chop block.
Don't be surprised if you see another one of those tomorrow during the Notre Dame football game against Navy.
Out of Notre Dame, or?
I would be surprised if they were the team that did that. And not being the hometown guy here.
No,
but
no. Yeah, it's the way that offense is run and the way Navy teaches that blocking.
6 penalties for 43 yards now for Mishawaka. And this is becoming a large factor in this game because the Cavemen now looking at a 2nd and 21. Fisher pitches out and the ball's on the ground. Caden Smith has to scoop it up at the 14, and this has been a disastrous drive for Mishawaka.
A little bit of a lazy, lackadaisical pitch on that one right there. He just kind of turned and threw it out before even looking. Smith wasn't even close to being by that ball.
Maverick Brown was the one applying pressure to Brady Fisher. 3rd and 26.
The option is one of those things where it's a lot of timing stuff, especially on that back, and proper spacing as well. You got to understand where the quarterback is, how he's coming to the line of scrimmage. Is he tacking at that defensive end, or is he coming down a little bit more? And you got to get that spacing better as a running back as well.
Fisher looks to throw, lobs it down the field for Trey Thomas, and he can't make the catch. Excellent coverage by the Penn defense. Cam Anderson at cornerback over there to break it up.
Visit the new Mishawaka Historical Museum at 121 South Main Street in Mishawaka. Open Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Relive caveman glory, discover industries, landmarks, and famous Mishawakians at the Mishawaka Historic Museum.
When Angelo talked to Corey Oman this week, Corey says, well, I tell you about Mishawaka's punt team, but I haven't seen them all year. So now he has. Lucas Larson is out there to punt. Tayshawn Bardo is the deep man for Penn, standing at his own 45. And a timeout being called by Mishawaka. It's sponsored by Kevin Putz at First Midwest Mortgage.
This game's health tip is brought to you by HealthLink, who reminds you that good vision is key to success on the field and in the classroom. Schedule a yearly eye exam at HealthLink today. HealthLink offers medical, dental, vision, and more.
So earlier we showed you where Mishawaka stands in the 5A poll. Penn moving into the 6A poll this week at number 9. And oh, by the way, the Kingsmen get to go on the road next Friday night and play number 2 Indianapolis Cathedral down in the Circle City. And if you notice that most of those teams come from around the Indianapolis area, in fact, the top 8, there's a reason for that.
It's a reason for that.
And it's not bias.
It's because they're good.
Yeah.
Year in and year out.
Take a look at the last few state champions from Class 6A, and that'll probably solve the puzzle for you.
Yeah. Well, I really like how Penn's really able to go and play schools like that here the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season because of the way their conference schedule is.
Well, and that'll be interesting with the Northern Indiana Conference next year going down to 8 teams. What kind of schedule will they set up? Because if you play every team in the conference, that's 7 conference games and only gives you 2 for non-conference, and one of them will be Mishawaka.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to what they do on the football side of that. Other sports, I can see that, but football for Mishawaka, it might be different.
Larson with a high punt that Cam Anderson will let hit, and it takes a Mishawaka roll. I know what you're going to say. Ball rolls down at the 37-yard line. That's a 48-yard punt. Mr. Hunt, the floor is yours.
You got to come catch that ball. That's 15, 20 yards right there. Just it's one of the hardest things to do in football is to catch a punt. All the eyes, you understand, all the eyes are on you. They're all watching you, everybody in the stands. But you just come up and catch that ball. Make it easy. Wave your hand in the air. Nobody can touch you. And then you just come up and catch that ball.
Instead, they wind up yielding about 13 yards of field position because of that. And Penn will start back at its own 37-yard line with 5:03 to go in the first half and a 7-point lead. Jake Bayless off the middle, and Bayless is stymied at the 40-yard line after a pickup of about 3. 72 yards on 11 carries for Jake tonight. Stop made by Carmine Orozco. He's a young man, Bo, that's getting some D1 offers. In fact, he has offers from both Indiana and Cincinnati.
Good schools to go to and good starts on the scholarship front. It can only get better from there.
Strong young man. He squats 585 pounds and benches 325. Stands in at 6'4", 275. 2nd and 7. McCullough throws. Elijah Coker with the catch. He's knocked out of bounds by Trey Thomas at the 46-yard line, and Penn will be looking at another 3rd and 2.
Imagineering Finishing Technologies in South Bend is globally known as the knowledge source for metal finishing solutions. Like the teams in this game, Imagineering is always working toward a great finish. Thank you, Imagineering, for your continued support of high school sports on TV46.
Jim Hammer and his team have been longtime supporters of the 46 Game of the Week, and we do appreciate it. I know it means a lot to the employees over there. 3rd and 1. Bayless trying to go around on the sweep and does. He takes it into caveman territory to the 48-yard line on a 1st down sponsored by Klein Custom Homes. Can't say enough about the job Penn's offensive line is doing, moving people off the ball, as you'll see here on the R&B Car Company replay.
Yeah, they just do a great job of just getting in front of guys, holding their blocks, sustaining them so the running back can read where to go and pick up that crucial 1st down and move the chains and more importantly, run this clock.
The tight end Cole Bennett with the block that time. Bennett, a member of the state championship baseball team, playing tonight despite a bout of asthma. 1st and 10 from the 48. McCullough wants to throw. Rolling right, pressure on, and he overthrew Kellen Watson, but there was heat coming from the backside and Trey Dunning.
Here to protect and serve our community, the St. Joe County Police Department is hiring immediately. Employment opportunities for high school graduates are available, and they offer a host of benefits and a true family environment on their team. Learn more at sjcindiana.com/employment.
2nd and 10 from the 48. Clock not really a factor yet in this drive, and Penn has all 3 of its timeouts remaining, as you see there on the Tire Rack scoreboard. Bayless, again the workhorse, but he'll be blocking here as McCullough steps up in the pocket, throws, and he finds Tayshawn Bardo. Bardo, a lightning fast receiver, takes it up to the 24-yard line, and the play is blown dead there, and that's another Klein Custom Homes 1st down.
Here you can see the R&B Car Company replay. Just a great job sitting in the pocket, finding his guys right there. As he went downfield, he actually just sat in that little pocket right down there and waited until he came open because the linebackers were pursuing downfield, and McCullough made a nice throw right in that pocket area.
That's a 24-yard pickup, and that is the biggest gain of the night for this Penn offense. Mishawaka has been able to neutralize the big plays, but they haven't been able to stop Penn drives, and McCullough leans that body forward for 4 more right here.
TireRack.com is proud to serve as our scoreboard sponsor, as Chuck said, for the TV46 Game of the Week. Since 1979, Tire Rack has been helping people find the right tires for how, what, and where they drive. They are also well known for supporting the Michiana community. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
By the way, when you showed you that 6A poll a moment ago, that was sponsored by our friends at Uptown Kitchen and Granger. 2nd and 6 from the 20. Jake Bayless, stutter step and submarine by Xavier Juarez after a pickup of 2 and a timeout being called here by Penn with 2:32 to go in the 1st half. We'll take it as well. Kingsman on the march, trying to add to a 7-point lead on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Raising Cane's R1 Love Craveable Chicken Finger Meals.
Love that Texas toast at Raising Cane's.
You drink the sauce just as a straight beverage, right?
I think my son does, yes.
14-7, Penn with the lead here on Mishawaka in this edition of the Backyard Brawl. Angelo DiCarlo, let's go downstairs to you. The heat that we had earlier this week is gone, but what kind of factor is it down there on the field turf tonight? Do you see depth becoming a factor right now?
You know, it's still humid, but it's certainly not as bad. I think the biggest concern would be whether or not guys didn't hydrate enough during the day today because it wasn't 180 degrees like it was the previous couple days. So it's definitely not as unbearable as it was, not even close, right? But you can feel it. You can feel it in your body a little bit. So I imagine it's going to play a factor the rest of this game and how well these guys did nurse themselves throughout the week.
It wasn't 180. The weather did the 180. And turned around and cooled off.
It sure did. And I know everybody was happy that it did today.
3rd and 4. McCullough wants to throw. Rolling to his left. Now he's going to run and get the first down and more. And McCullough stood up and goes out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. But another first down sponsored by Klein Custom Homes as Nolan McCullough uses his fleet feet to move the chains.
Yeah, just a great job. He's just looking downfield, being patient, and then realizes, hey, I just need to pick up the first down at this point. Gets that Klein Custom Homes first down, and you got 1st and goal from the 6.
Pickup of 12 on the play for McCullough and the Kingsmen. And remember, they'll get the ball to start the second half, so they can come pretty close to a 2-for-1 here at the end of the first half and maybe put themselves in a position to dominate this game early second half. McCullough trying to finish the drive, gets spun down by Trey Dunning at the 4-yard line. He gets 2 on the play.
Hardware Plus is a proud supporter of high school sports and has been Osceola's favorite local hardware store for nearly a century, featuring a wide selection of products and customer service experts. Hardware Plus, where service begins with the words, "How can I help you?" and a handshake.
And the timeout for Mishawaka is sponsored by Kevin Putz at First Midwest Mortgage. Got a brand new show for you on Pulse FM Friday nights at 6 o'clock. Anj and I sit down and discuss all things high school football on the TireRack.com drive to the game. It's a perfect thing to listen to on your drive to the game. And the other great thing about it for the coaches and the players out there, we tend to drop the podcast right around noon on Friday, so you got a little something to listen to on that bus ride. So check it out Friday nights from 6 to 6:30 on Pulse FM. Bo, look at this crowd here for high school football. And it's wonderful to see this kind of attention given to the sport this time of year.
It definitely is. It's only week 2 in Indiana, and this is what you kind of expect in a rivalry game. You know, we got here about an hour and 45 minutes before game time, and there was probably maybe 1,000 people already here, standing in line, getting their barbecue sandwiches off the grill, getting their hot dogs, their hamburgers, getting all set up, getting the best seats in the house, I think is what a lot of them were doing too.
They opened the gates at 5, and people took advantage of that. 2nd and goal from the 5 for Penn. McCullough, he's got Kellen Watson out there, but Trey Thomas pilfers the pass in the end zone. Watson was open, McCullough underthrew him, and Trey Thomas, a high jumper himself, went on up.
Just about to say a basketball player, football player, and a high jumper. Trey Thomas was able to jump up and just knock that out of the air and bring it down. Just not enough air by McCullough.
Look at him elevate and deflect it to himself, and what a big defensive play for the Kingsmen to keep them in the ballgame. First turnover of the game goes to the Penn Kingsmen. And now with 1:44, but only 1 timeout. Let's see how Keith Kinder and the Cavemen approach this, and also how Corey Yeoman uses his timeouts. This could be a real 100 seconds of chess.
Yeah, a lot of times it is, and a lot of it depends on this first play and see how many yards Mishawaka picks up, or if they take it to the air and the clock stops.
Well, Fisher is thinking taking it to the air. Oh, he had Ethan Bryce wide open, but he hits the receiver on the outside. And the catch is made by the tight end, Zachary Moore. His first grab of the year is good for 12 yards and a first down.
First down sponsored by ASA Electronics. And he got out of bounds, which was big on that play as well, so the clock won't start until after the snap.
But if Fisher just looks a little bit to the left, oh my,
right
was
up.
Ethan Bryce lonely after he had lined up in the slot.
Yeah, that middle of the field, right down the middle of the streak. If he could have hit him on that.
1:37 to go here in the first half. 1st and 10 from the 32. Play clock down to 3. Fisher hurries the snap. Rolls out. He's in trouble. But the big fella survives 2 hits, throws it away. That was a smart incompletion by Brady Fisher. Even though Trey Thomas popped open, it was more about running for survival.
Yeah, you can see on the rollout here, it's one of those plays that gets broken up by a blitzing linebacker coming up, and he has to change his direction completely and go to the backside. And it's tough to throw across your body on that backside.
So now 2nd and 10 for Mishawaka. But here's a play. They might go back to the ground. Certainly the formation would seem to dictate that, and they do. Fisher keeps it on the option and leans forward for 5 yards. The stop made by Brandon Lynch, and no timeout taken. Mishawaka acting as though they're in the hurry-up.
Yeah, they're going to get up to the line. They still haven't called the play yet. Play hasn't been signaled in. Here it goes.
3rd and 5. Exactly a minute to go before halftime. Novell Miller met at the line of scrimmage and pushed backwards. Loss of 3 on the play, and now Penn will burn a timeout with 54.9 remaining.
That play got blown up from the start by the D-line surge right up the middle. That speed, we talked about the speed of the Kingsman defensive linemen, not the size, but their speed. There you can see just blew it up right up the middle.
Alan Phillips with his 2nd tackle for loss this season. He is the biggest man on that defense at 223 pounds, but he just erupted through the Mishawaka offensive line.
Yeah, Allen just did a great job really splitting that gap and blowing that play up before it even had a chance to start.
So now 4th down in a punting situation here for Mishawaka, and let's see if Corey Yeoman decides to bring some heat or try to set up the return.
Big shout out to Barnaby's Pizza on Grape Road, Granger, and Twin Branch as they fed our crew tonight. We'd like to thank them, and Mishawaka and Granger will always find delicious pizza and relaxing family atmosphere. Order online at MishawakaBarnabys.com. We'd like to thank the Barnaby's Pizza and Twin Branch actually for feeding our crew tonight.
Here is a shocking score. Goshen in the 2nd quarter leads New Prairie 10-7. Bremen on top of South Bend, Washington by a count of 27-0.
That big upset last week, LaPorte over New Prairie. And of course, Wogeman's over at Goshen, made some adjustments after week 1.
Meanwhile, here it's Lucas Larson getting ready to punt. And Larson is able to get it out of there, end over end. It'll take a Penn roll this time and be down at the 38-yard line. So it's only a 28-yard punt by Larson with no return. Penn with 1 timeout, 49.9 on the clock, and that gunslinger at quarterback. Lafayette Jeff and Michigan City tied at 7. They're in the 1st quarter tonight. Tippecanoe Valley with a 15-8 lead on Rochester. That battle for the bell is in the 2nd quarter. And at the end of 1, Warsaw and Chesterton are scoreless. Plymouth is losing 35-0 to Columbia City at the half. 1st and 10 from the 39. It's Kellen Watson on the end around. Watson has speed, he's got agility, and he gets the 1st down for Klein Custom Homes up to the Mishawaka 49, a pickup of 12 for the lanky junior.
Reminder in high school that clock stops until they get the chain set.
By the way, Watson, the first Kingsman other than McCullough and Bayless to carry the football tonight. McCullough looks to throw. Now under pressure, going to run for it, and Carmine or Trey Dunning puts him down at the 45, and Corey Yeoman will use his last time out after the pickup of 4.
A reminder, the 57th annual Blueberry Festival is coming up Labor Day weekend. Bring the whole family for great food and great family fun. Check out all the festivities at blueberryfestival.org.
Halftime at Jake Field. Jimtown and Concord knotted at 7. Grand Rapids West Catholic with a 42-6 lead on Edwardsburg. That game in the second quarter up at Leo Hoffman Field. West Noble leads Wawasee at the half by a count of 7-6. Niles leads St. Joseph 42-0. That game in the second quarter. What a job Scott Shaw's team is doing, and we'll see them next week up in Stevensville against Lakeshore.
Niles really just coming alive here as of late. Shaw doing a fantastic job up there.
Riley has a 20-0 lead on John Glenn. That game in the first quarter in Walkerton. We'll try to get you some more scores on the live stream at halftime. 14-7 Penn, 25 seconds left here in the second quarter. McCullough pump fakes, was being thrown down. Cole Bennett couldn't hang on. So the pass incomplete from McCullough to Bennett stops the clock with 20 seconds left, and Penn looking at a 3rd and 6. At some point, if you're Penn, do you use these burners that you have on the outside and test the speed of the Mishawaka corners?
I think at times you got not only burners, but they're all like 6'3", 6'4" burners as well. So they got some height and they can get up. So I think it's one of the things that you got to take a couple chances throughout this game.
Coker and Bardo are the wideouts with Watson in the slot. McCullough throws, Coker makes the catch, gets the first down and stepped out of bounds at the 38-yard line, but that will be a first down for Klein Custom Homes. Pick up a 7 for Elijah Coker. Penn down to the Mishawaka 38. I don't think Corey Yeoman wants to really consider a long field goal attempt here. But you got time for 2, maybe 3 passes.
Yeah, they're out of timeouts, I believe. Yep, out of timeouts. So if they do go down the middle of the field, they got to hurry up and get to that ball and spike it.
McCullough again looks to throw, but Mishawaka in a prevent. McCullough upended and throws, and it is incomplete. Oh boy, did he take a hit at the end of that play from Carmine Orozco.
Almost intercepted again by the Caveman defense, but then Bennett had an opportunity to actually catch that ball as well.
McCullough pulls the Tebow, runs right to the line of scrimmage, and look at the submarine effort that time. It was Ken Clemente, not Orozco, that sent Mr. McCullough head over heels. 2nd and 10 at the 38 with 7.8 left. McCullough going to try to air it down the field. Steps up, heaves for the end zone. Jack Troyer bats it away, and the first half comes to an end with the Penn Kingsmen on top of the Mishawaka Cavemen by a count of 14-7. Penn trailing 7-0 after a Brady Fisher touchdown scamper of 51 yards in the first 2 minutes of the game, but then Corey Yeoman's team was able to make the comeback, and Corey is standing by with Angelo DiCarlo for a Bills Heating sideline report.
Coach, we call this the backyard brawl, and it's quite the battle here in the first half. Your thoughts?
Sure is, yeah. Getting used to them, running that offense. There's no way to simulate that during the week, and they do it really well.
What's your message to your kids at halftime?
Yeah, just keep doing your job. Every man doing his job.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Coach Corey Yeoman. Chuck and Bo, back to you.
All right, halftime here at Everwise Freed Field finds Penn on top 14-7. A lot to come in our St. Joe County Police Department halftime report, including our Tony Letcher Student Athletes of the Week. Kingsmen by 7 at the break.
Time now for our TV46 Student Athletes of the Week, brought to you by Tony Letcher of Health Markets. We have Mishawaka quarterback Brady Fisher, along with Penn outstanding distance runner Mary Eubank here for our Student Athlete of the Week. We'll start with Brady, of course, a football player, basketball player, and golf, ranked 10th in his senior class. How do you balance it all?
You know, I just like to pay attention in class, get my work done when I can. Time management's a big part of it, and yeah, that's how I do it.
What's the future hold for you? Are you looking to play a sport in college, and what are you looking to major?
I have not decided yet, but I'm trying to keep my options open with the sports thing, and I'll probably try majoring in PGA management somewhere or business if that don't work out.
Obviously, family business has been Mishawaka football for everyone in your family. What has being a caveman meant to you?
Oh, you know, it's just a way of life, you know. Like LOD, it's like how I like to live by, and you know, just try to be a better person and a good man.
Brady, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mary Eubank is with us as well here. Mary, obviously outstanding distance runner, both in track and cross country, and you're ranked in the top 10% of your senior class. How do you balance everything?
Well, I just try to take things one day at a time. It can be a lot with lots of practicing every day, preparing for meets, doing schoolwork, but just try to take things one day at a time. I don't have to win all the races at once. I just have to take things one day at a time.
You finished third in the state in the 3,200 meter last year. I'm curious, when you're out training, are you studying in your head in any form as well? Because you're sometimes going out on long distance runs.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to. It's kind of hard sometimes. Some runs I think a lot. Some runs I can't think about anything. You know, I'm just I keep putting one foot in front of the other foot.
I know you plan to run in college and you want to be an elementary school teacher. Tell us a little bit more about both of those.
Well, I want to keep running because I just love to run. I have to keep that as part of my life. Like, even when I'm done competing, I want to always run. And I love kids. I want to be able to teach kids.
How has Penn helped prepare you for the future?
Just by having great academics, good classes I can take, and then also getting the opportunity to be on one of the best cross-country teams in the state with a really great coach, really great strength and conditioning program, has given me all the opportunities I need.
Mary, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Mary Eubank. Brady Fisher's already back getting ready for the second half of our TV46 Game of the Week. That's our Tony Letcher Health Markets Student Athletes of the Week. We've got first half stats right after this.
And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Martin Supermarkets. Count on us for all your grocery needs and so much more. Welcome inside the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth. Chuck Freeby and Bo Hunt here at Everwise Freed Field. And we've seen a dandy so far in the backyard brawl as Penn leads Mishawaka 14-7. Welcome into that Martin Supermarket broadcast booth. Your thoughts on the first half?
I thought Mishawaka came out. They went right down the field. They scored. They had the momentum. Penn, on the other hand, they came down, they made that score, but they made the adjustment on defense in that next series. They were able to stop Mishawaka. They did drive down, missed the field goal, which was key. but being able to come down, score, go up 14-7 was huge. But the big interception by Mishawaka, I think, was really the turning point, or the thing that really saved Mishawaka in that first half.
Well, let's show you how it got to be this way here at Freed Field, because Brady Fisher with the first lightning bolt of the first half as he scampers 51 yards for the touchdown, and it was 7-0 Mishawaka less than 2 minutes in. But here come the Penn Kingsmen running the football with Jake Bayless taking it down the field, and then it was Nolan McCullough keeping himself on the option, giving Mishawaka a little taste of their own medicine before Bayless finds pay dirt from 7 yards out to tie the game at 7 midway through the first period. Mishawaka would then move the ball in the second quarter. Ethan Bryce with a nice snare here and about a 20-yard pickup. But Penn dominated the pace of play in the second quarter. Bayless ran the ball exceptionally well. He had 79 yards rushing in the first half. And then on a key 3rd and 5 after a Mishawaka holding penalty, it would be Elijah Coker hauling in the Nolan McCullough pass for the touchdown. It looked as though Penn might be able to add to the lead, but Trey Thomas comes up with a big interception, and it's 14-7 at the intermission. And Bo, when we look at the first half stats, it would point to the fact that Penn has dominated the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that we knew coming into this game. Mishawaka, how are they going to act with that offensive line, the defensive line as well? But I really think Penn has really sustained their dominance in that aspect of the game, and that's kind of the difference in this game of really offensively and defensively with Penn.
So can Mishawaka make adjustments and get back in it in the second half, or will the Kingsmen continue to add bragging rights? It's 14-7 Penn at the intermission. You're watching the 46th game of the week. This has been the St. Joe County Police Halftime Report. Back with you on the live stream here at Everwise Freed Field. Let's get you update on some scores from other games. Bremen on top of Washington 27-7 right before halftime. We saw the Lions last week. They're looking good again. Lafayette Jeff has taken a 14-7 lead on Michigan City. That game in the first quarter. Also tonight, we can tell you that Jimtown and Concord are tied at 7 at the half. Wild one in the Northeast Corner Conference. Lakeland 27, Churubusco 25, and that game's only in the second quarter. Other games from around the area, we find North Judson leads Caston 20-0 after 1 quarter of play. And then Pioneer with an 18-0 lead on Winnemac. Triton and LaVille tied at 13 at the half at Lancer Field. That one is living up to billing. Lawton has a 37-20 lead on Benton Harbor. That game is in the third quarter. Northwood has taken a 7-0 lead on Portage in the first quarter. And in other games from around the area, we can tell you that Goshen maintains that 10-7 lead on New Prairie. Halftime, John Adams leads Logansport 15-8. We'll see the Eagles take on Riley next week. By the way, Riley leading John Glenn 20-0 in the second quarter. Here it's Penn 14, Mishawaka 7. We appreciate you watching on Facebook, YouTube, and the IHSAA Champions Network. This edition of the TV46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by API St. Andrews. 31 years of success. Look at the crowd here at Everwise Freed Field. They've got their cell phones out. They're doing the jump around, all kinds of enthusiasm on those Penn sidelines. Reason to be, they're up 14-7. What about the Mishawaka side? Let's go downstairs for a Bills Heating sideline report. Angelo DiCarlo, fill us in on the thoughts in the Caveman camp.
Yeah, Keith Kinder says they're fortunate to be down just 7 points at this point. He feels they have made enough mistakes offensively and defensively in terms of silly penalties that it could have been worse than what it was. But he really likes the way the defense has played and the way they held up in that first half against a very powerful Penn offense. And then obviously he feels they got to get that big stop to start here in the second half.
And that will be the issue because Penn will start the second half with the football. Lucas Larson gets ready to put it into play. And once again, Bo, Larson with the ball sideways on the tee. So this will be a squib kick by the Cavemen.
Yeah, that squib kick is just, when they can get the right hop on it, it can go anywhere, and it's tough to field.
And it's an onside kick, and it's still rolling and goes out of bounds. It'll be a penalty, but Mishawaka can just take the football where it went out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, just a great opportunity there for Mishawaka to get the ball, but going out of bounds that way, you're going to have the penalty.
And I mistakenly said Mishawaka. It's Penn who will get the football, and they can take it right where it went out of bounds. And I'm sure that's what Corey Yeoman wants. Great field position. Will be 1st and 10 at the 40.
The Penn Boosters root for the Kingsmen's success in this game and all season, supporting all Penn extracurricular activities. For a $10 donations, you too can show your Penn spirit. Last year, Penn Boosters awarded $79,000 to various academic clubs and teams. Follow them on Facebook or go to pennboosters.org.
Nolan McCullough signals out the play to his receivers, trips to the right. And it's Jake Bayless patiently running up the middle, and he's finally brought down by Xavier Juarez after a pickup of 5. Bayless now with 84 yards on the night on 14 carries.
Third quarter is sponsored by Hardware Plus. They're a proud supporter of high school sports and been Osceola's favorite local hardware store for nearly a century.
Bayless, the son of the former Notre Dame strength coach Matt Bayless, all NIC running back a year ago and a member of the Penn track team. Also has an outstanding 4.03 GPA. He will be a gem for some college to pick up. 2nd and 5. Fake end around. Nolan McCullough running up the middle of the field, and he may be off to the races. Touchdown, Kingsmen. 54 yards, no flags.
What a great job to open up this first drive of the second half by Nolan McCullough. The Penn Kingsmen just burst right up the middle. Not even a hand on him until right there. And he was gone.
McCullough had an 80-yard run to pay dirt last week against Valparaiso. It's 54 yards here. And Penn will have to wait to try the extra point because one of the Mishawaka linemen, Carmine Orozco, is cramping down at the goal line after chasing McCullough.
I was just going to talk about it at the beginning, or right towards the end of the first half, about cramps here in the second half. We saw that a lot last week. But again, last week with some smaller schools, a lot of kids played both ways where there's not as much here. But the heat that they've gone through this week is really taking a toll on the bodies of these kids.
Nolan McCullough, that kid is a winner. 1290 SAT as a starter in his 4 years at Penn. Now, some of it not on the varsity, as a freshman, JV, and the starting varsity quarterback. Record of 23-4.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
And by the way, he's only 16. But he raced to pay dirt that time. 54 yards to McCullough now. 9 carries, 104 yards on the night as they still work on Orozco down on the field.
Yeah, it looked like Orozco was cramping on one side, and then all of a sudden the other side started cramping as well. And you'll see that a lot in football players when it goes from one leg to the other.
One of the stories we have not talked about in this game tonight is Corey Yeoman is going for career win number 200. And the folks at Quality Dining, Uptown Kitchen and Granger want me to share this information with you. Look at the area coaches with 200 wins. This is the kind of company he's trying to get into, including the man who's been in the house tonight, Chris Giesman, with 339 wins. But that right there, that's the list of Northern Indiana football legends. And Corey Yeoman, who takes a lot more grief than he deserves as the Penn football coach. If he wins this one tonight, he'll be 254.
What a record and what an accomplishment that would be tonight. Not only to get your 200th win at home, but against your arch rival in the backyard brawl.
Talking to Keith Kinder this week about Corey, he just talked about how good he's been for football in the area and in Northern Indiana. He goes, who doesn't do some sort of imitation of the Corey Yeoman clap. And the Corey Yeoman jump? Dylan D'Addario on to try the extra point out of the hold of Austin Eisel. And the kick is up, and it is good. Just 51 seconds elapsed in the third quarter, and Penn has expanded the lead. Nolan McCullough takes it all the way, and it's 21-7 Penn on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Crown Trophy. They're nationally known and locally owned. Chuck Freeby, Bo Hunt, Angelo DiCarlo, and not exactly a big old possum hunting moon in the sky tonight over Everwise Freed Field. But it is wonderful football weather, a great crowd on hand for the 65th renewal of this great rivalry between Penn and Mishawaka that dates back to 1965. They haven't played the last 4 years. Mishawaka moved to the Northern Lakes Conference in 2020. Penn had contracts in place that they couldn't change, but the two schools have come to an agreement that they're playing in week 2 for the next 4 years.
Yeah, and like we said, it'll be interesting what happens next year with the NIC, with the schools that were formerly in the NSC that came over that are now going back to the NSC that Angelo broke last week. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Maybe Penn takes on the role of like the Notre Dame in the football era of being the independent and going and playing a bunch of schools that are more suitable to their size.
I would say after watching college football all summer, you never know. Dylan D'Addario's kick is fielded by Brady Newsom, and he is run out of bounds after a nice return to the Mishawaka 31. Good field position. That hasn't been the problem for the Cavemen tonight. The problem has been consistency in moving the football.
Yeah, just the penalties that they've had throughout their last few drives. That first drive, they went right down the field. It was just bam, 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 bam. And then they had a couple mental errors and then another mental error. And those keep adding up and adding up. Next thing you know, you're in some quicksand, and it just keeps propelling out of control.
A little too early for Mishawaka to panic. They're only down by 14, and they've shown the capability of hitting the big play. But they could use one here in the third quarter. Caden Smith in motion, Novell Miller up the middle, and the fullback rumbles for 5 yards. But yards have been tough to come by for good old number 2 tonight. 9 carries and 26 yards for the 200-pound junior. Miller is a demon in the weight room at Mishawaka. He benches 345, he squats 600.
That's it? I would have suggested more. Only a junior.
Only a junior. 2nd and 6. It's Fisher pitching to Caden Smith, and Smith around the outside has himself a Mishawaka first down, sponsored by Hometown Pharmacy.
Speaking of Hometown Pharmacy in Mishawaka, they can help with your prescription refills and custom packaging, medication management, functional medicine, compounding, vaccines, and more. All designed to help you and your family live healthier and enjoy more time for the things you love. Hometown Pharmacy.
There you take a look at Brady Fisher, the unflappable caveman quarterback. He has 70 yards rushing tonight. Three-sport athlete at Mishawaka, where he's on a member of the basketball team for Bodie Bender and then also a member of the golf team. Bryce in motion. Oh my, what a hit by the Penn defensive line. They're all over Novell Miller, and that's Allen Phillips again for his second tackle for loss.
Allen just blowing up that front, just getting right by the center, just shooting that gap. Here you can see it in the R&B Car Company replay. I mean, he's in there. He might even been able to take that hand off.
Yeah, he flew by Edward Rodriguez that time. And it's 2nd and 12 for Mishawaka. And if you can't get movement up the middle in this offense, you've got a problem. Fisher will keep it himself on the option, carrying bodies. And it's a pickup of about 7 on the play. And the interesting thing about that play is that was Brady Fisher tackled by Tommy Paulus.
Those names ring a bell, I'm sure, to everyone at home as well.
Well, in 2018, it was C.J. Fisher who tackled Ron Paulus III on the game's final play to preserve a 49-42 Caveman overtime win. And tonight, you see the younger brothers, the latest in these legacies, duking it out here. Here's the pitch out. And Caden Smith around the outside, and he's got the first down. By the way, that little fun fact brought to us by our friends at Uptown Kitchens in Granger. As Smith gets to the outside for a pickup of 7 yards on the play.
Cavemen able to really start moving the chains here in this drive of the second half, their first one. Limited possessions in that first half as well, we might say.
If nothing else, they need a long drive here. Obviously, they need points, but they need a bit of a longer drive to give that defense a little bit of a chance to rest, especially with Orozco cramping up. 1st and 10. Fisher keeps it himself behind what became a block by Novell Miller when he didn't take the football. And it's about a 3-yard pickup for Brady Fisher.
Martin Supermarkets Groceries to Go annual subscriptions are now available, just $29.99 for the year. Get ad pricing, digital coupon, recipes directly from your account. Learn more at martinsgroceriestogo.com.
Take a look at Keith Kinder on the sideline for Mishawaka. Offensive coordinator of Mishawaka for 5 years under Bart Curtis, where he learned how to run this option offense. The 1999 Jimtown grad has done a fabulous job coaching the Cavemen. Fisher kept it himself on the option, and only his body strength allowed him to pick up 3 yards on that play, because he was wrapped up pretty well by the Penn defense, but he carried Rylan Frazier up to the 40. You'll see it again here on the R&B Car Company replay. I mean, Frazier's got him dead to rights, and Fisher just kept moving.
Yeah, that's just momentum and understanding how to twist the body and get upfield to pick up that positive yardage.
Because now you're at a 3rd and 4 rather than a 3rd and 7. Everybody bunched in. They'll give it to Miller off the right side. Oh, he took a hit and still picked up the first down up to the 34.
Great second effort by Miller to pick up the Hometown Pharmacy first down.
Oh, he may need something from Hometown Pharmacy after this hit. Watch it again on R&B Car Company.
Just a great job of taking on that head-on, keep driving the legs. Even after the second hit, he was still able to pick up another 2 yards on this drive.
That's as impressive, and we've seen 2 fleet runs by the quarterbacks. That's as impressive a run as we've seen tonight. 1st and 10 from the 34. Miller smashes forward for about 6 on the play. Boy, he is a bowling ball, isn't he?
ASA Electronics has been leading the industry and setting the benchmark for mobile technologies since 1977. The ASA family of brands is proudly partnered with companies like UPS, Caterpillar, Mastercraft, John Deere, Winnebago, and more.
After this play, we'll go down to Angelo DiCarlo for a Bills Heating sideline report. I want to hear about some of the people watching on the live stream tonight. Brady Fisher looks to throw. Guns it, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by the Kingsmen, and then they bring it all the way back. Penn picks it off with Vincent Horner, his second interception.
Just a great read by Horner. Undercut the route, was able to take it up the field, and huge job by this Kings defense. Man, are they stepping up.
They bring it all the way back to the 42. And Horner, who had a key interception last week in the game against Valpo, gets another one here. And a big hug from Corey Oman on the sidelines. Meanwhile, the Mishawaka trainers tending to another injured Caveman player at midfield. So let's go downstairs to Angelo for a Bills Heating sideline report. I understand we have live stream viewers from near and far tonight, Angelo.
We don't know exactly who's watching at the moment, but it is 1:30 in Dublin right now, AM that is. And we suspect Brady Fisher's dad, Mike Fisher, is likely tuning in. Of course, Justin Fisher, Brady's older brother, is a walk-on for the Notre Dame football team. Ron Paulus, the father of Tommy Paulus, is the sports administrator and the head of operations, so to speak, for Notre Dame football. He's over there as well. I don't know if he's watching right now because he's probably got to be up pretty early to get the team ready. And then you got Vinny Freeman's dad. I think we know who that is, Marcus Freeman. I'm going to suspect he's not watching this one live, getting ready for Notre Dame and Navy, but perhaps going to watch it on the plane ride back. Who knows? We'll see.
All right, thanks, Anj. Meanwhile, there was a holding call against Penn after the interception on the return, and the flag moves the ball all the way back to the Penn 19-yard line, which changes the tenor somewhat. However, the Kingsmen have the ball back in a 14-point lead midway through the third.
Yeah, that holding call was a spot foul from where the holding was, 10 yards from that point. But again, Penn with the ball with a 14-point lead here. If they were to go up 3 scores here late in the third quarter, I think that might put the nail in the coffin for these Kingmen.
Boy, what a job Horner did to jump the route, though, on Fisher that time. 1st and 10 from the 19 for Nolan McCullough and the Kingsmen, and McCullough wants to throw. He gets it outside to Elijah Coker. Coker takes a couple of hits and squeezes forward to the 24, but then we've got a flag on the play.
Looked like there might have been a little block in the back as they were coming up the field.
Mishawaka indicating that the flag is against Penn. This would be the 3rd violation on the Kingsmen tonight, and you called it, the block in the back.
Yeah, didn't see it, but I saw a body go flying through the air, and the way that football player went through the air, it's usually a hit in the back because you have no control once you get hit. That's why it's one of those plays where it's a 15-yard penalty unless you're inside the 30, then it's half the distance to the goal.
And Anj, I can tell you that there was a Fisher who checked in from Dublin, Ireland, watching the game on YouTube. But because it registered as Carl, I can't tell you whether it was dad or son.
Could be either one, right?
Exactly. I'm putting more faith in CJ to have a YouTube account than his dad. 1st and 15 from the 14-yard line. McCullough gives it to Kellen Watson on the end around, and Watson slides to the outside and picks up 8.
Watson, one of those guys you do not want to let get in the open, as we stated before. One of the fastest in northern Indiana, in fact, in the state of Indiana.
He did a great job finishing 4th in the state in the 100 with a time of 10.74. Let me put that in perspective for you. Shakari Richardson won the U.S. Women's or the World Championship the other night in the 100. Granted, a woman, but she ran it in 10.66.
Yeah, Olympian.
2nd and 7 from the 22. Jake Bayless, and he is snowed under. Carmine Orozco back in the game, makes the tackle on Bayless at about the 24-yard line. Only a pickup of 1 that time for Jake, who has 85 yards on 15 carries tonight.
Calling all you early risers. Did you know Uptown Kitchen opens at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday? It's the perfect spot for breakfast meetings or a quick bite before you drop the kids off at school. Enjoy savory avocado toast, our daily quiche, or stuffed French toast. Visit Uptown Kitchen for the best of breakfast and lunch.
3rd and 6 from the 23.
I could go for some stuffed French toast right now.
Yeah, you can wait till breakfast, pal.
All right.
Nolan McCullough rolling out. He's got time, now running out of time, throws, and Kellen Watson's grab is incomplete. He was out of bounds. I was trying to pick up the side judge, and he was lost behind a morass of Penn players.
Yeah, and all the Penn guys were in front of us. Couldn't see the sidelines from our vantage point.
So 4th down and the first punting situation of the night for the Kingsmen. Austin Eisel, who averages 31.5 yards a kick, is in there to do the booting for Penn. Jack Troyer and Brady Newsom are the deep men for Mishawaka, standing around midfield.
Great opportunity to get good field position for the Cavemen.
Eisel hangs one high in the August night, and it's going to take a Penn roll and be down at the 26-yard line. What a kick by Austin Eisel, 51 yards with no return, 3:54 to go in the 3rd, and the Kingsmen lead it by 14 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you by HealthLink. It's your community health center. 1st and 10 from the 26 for Mishawaka. 3:54 left 3rd quarter. Cavemen trailing by 14. The pitch out to Ethan Bryce, trying to get around the outside. He's got some room to run, and he is hauled down from behind on the tackle by Taylor Bauer.
Great run and great pickup with the hometown pharmacy 1st down by Bryce. Just a really good job of getting outside. Good pitch by Fisher. See it right here. Nice block downfield as well.
Keith Kinder wanted a horse collar tackle on that, but I think Bauer got more shoulder pad. He didn't get inside the pad there.
I thought it at first on the first view with my eyes, but on the replay, it didn't look like there was any type of horse collar on that play.
So 1st down, sponsored by Hometown Pharmacy.
Mishawaka trying to get some momentum, getting to the line quick and trying to get these plays off.
Now they give it to Novell Miller, and again he gets rocked by Jackson Griffith as he comes across the line, but he picks up 3 yards.
THK Law LLP is a proud supporter of high school athletics. THK Law has been helping Michiana families with estate planning, elder law, business matters, and litigation for over 25 years. Visit thklaw.com.
2nd and 7. You take a look at Brady Fisher, the senior quarterback. He's 2 for 5 passing tonight for 34 yards and the 1 interception. 2 receivers off to his right. Again, it's Miller going up the middle, and he smashes forward to the 46. Another pickup of 4 for Novell. And it looks like he might be cramping up as well. So the trainers will come out and take a look at Novell Miller. While they do that, we'll tell you that next week it's a high school doubleheader on TV46. We go into Stevensville, Michigan, Al Stockman Stadium. Scott Shaw's Niles Vikings are for real. They're an option team too, and they'll take on Danny Thompson's Lakeshore Lancers, who had their hands full with Zeeland West today. We'll see that one Friday afternoon at 4 and Saturday at 11:30 in the morning. And in Indiana, we go over to Schoolfield in South Bend for a city rivalry. Riley could be 2-0 and go into that game, and Frank Karszewski's Adams team had the lead on Logansport earlier. We'll see if the Eagles can hang on for a win. Riley and Adams in a city rivalry next Friday night, 11, Saturday morning at 9 on TV46. Look at the crowd here on a beautiful spotted cloud night here at Freed Field. This place aglow and a buzz. People have been waiting for 4 years for this game, and the atmosphere showed it.
Yeah, it definitely did. A lot of talk all week within the city, between families and friends and neighbors, about this upcoming game and about how excited they were. And everybody knew it was going to be a great game, and it has been a great game to this point. These two teams are pretty evenly matched, and Penn does have the lead 21-7 at this point, but it's more of they've capitalized on the mistakes that Mishawaka has made, and Penn really hasn't made many mistakes in this game.
This would be a big loss for Mishawaka, though, as Novell Miller hobbles off the field, fortunately under his own power. They've played 3 in Winamac, and Pioneer is shutting out Winamac by a count of 31-0. Of interest to the Penn fans, Brownsburg leads Cathedral at halftime 21-17. As we mentioned earlier, Penn goes to Indianapolis Cathedral to play the Irish next week.
And it's not like Brownsburg's no joke either. I believe they're, what, 5th, 6th?
Bremen is in cruise control right now. They lead Washington 41-7. That's in the third quarter over at Schoolfield. Concord with a 14-10 lead on Jimtown in the fourth in Dunlap. Fisher keeps it himself instead of giving it to Jackson Snyder, and it was read beautifully by the Kingsman defense and Jackson Griffith.
Griffith with a great job of really coming up. Jackson read that play, sniffed out Fisher, was able to wrap him up and bring up a big 4th down and 2 here.
Griffith had a monster game in that game we did last year over at Elkhart, including the game-winning interception to beat the Lions. And Mishawaka, which is their nature, will look to go for it here on 4th and 2. Fisher gets in behind his center Rodriguez. Jackson Snyder is his running back. Fisher keeps it himself and gets the first down up to the 45. It's sponsored by Hometown Pharmacy. A pickup of 8 for Brady Fisher to keep the drive alive.
Shopping for the best mortgage loan programs or mortgage interest rates? Call our friend Kevin Putz with First Midwest Mortgage at 287-1152. With multiple down payment loan options and some of the area's best mortgage rates, call Kevin Putz at 287-1152.
Tippecanoe Valley leading Rochester 32-8 in the third. LaPorte and Lowell are tied at 7 in the second. Of course, LaPorte had that big upset of New Prairie last week. Here's Jackson Snyder, buried at the line of scrimmage by Evan Witten, the nephew of the former St. Joe coach Ryan Witten, and a member of the wrestling team. Led this team in tackles last week and comes up with a stop right here at the line of scrimmage. Mishawaka will have to run at least one more play here in the third quarter. They've got it at the Penn 45, but time becoming a matter of essence here for the Cavemen. Northridge leading Elkhart 35-22, that game in the third. Northwood leads Portage 28-0 in the second. Here's a throw by Brady Fisher and a catch on the outside by Trey Thomas. Good for about 7 yards on the pickup for Thomas, his first grab of the night. And that's his third of the season. And that will do it for 3 quarters of play here at Everwise Freed Field. The emotions running high, as you would expect, in one of high school football in Indiana's most intense rivalries. Penn has a 21-7 lead, trying to get win number 200 for Corey Ellman. Will take it to the 4th on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by Imagineering Finishing Technologies, IFT, where quality is a way of life. A way of life for us. And Angelo DiCarlo Sideline Report, sponsored by Bill's Heating. He's got the new Penn basketball coach.
Barrett Coleman joining us now. 8,000 people approximately here tonight. Your first home football game to see. What's this been like for you?
You know, what an atmosphere, what an environment. You know, it's so exciting to be able to see the Kingsmen play at a high level against the arch-rivaled rivalries, and it's been a fun night for us. And really excited just to see kind of the progression of the players and this season for what they can do and where they're headed.
You got a couple of your basketball players out on the field. What's it like watching them play football?
You know, it's always fun to see dual sport athletes playing at a high level and making plays and competing, and it transcends all sports when you just get after it in the weight room and you work hard, and then you can able to compete at any level. It's just fun to see these guys have fun.
And Coach, finally, what's your evaluation of where things can go for you guys this season? Obviously, you lost a lot with Marcus Burton and the entire starting lineup.
Yeah, you know, just to be able to kind of come in a fresh start. You know, you lose 6 quality seniors and a tremendous Hall of Fame coach. You're almost starting over, but I'm really excited about the program and the direction that we can go. The guys that are returning have some experience, but more importantly, they have the Penn mindset, and they're going to work really hard. They're going to compete and give us a chance to win in every game we play.
Coach, thank you very much. Best of luck this upcoming season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Chuck and Bo, back to you.
Taylor Bauer with the fumble recovery for Penn. Kingsmen take over at their own 45, looking to ice this one. And Jake Bayless stutter steps his way up to the midfield stripe, a pickup of 5 for Bayless.
William and Kayla Thomas with Grandson Trucking are proud supporters of Penn High School. Their son, number 43, Wilson Thomas, and all the Kingsmen. Have a great game and a great season.
Penn won the game in 2019 by a score of 21-13, leading 21-7 here tonight as Nolan McCullough sends trips out to the right. High snap over the head of McCullough, and he'll smartly slide down at the 35-yard line. A big loss of 14 on the play.
Yeah, just a great job of actually getting back to that ball. He had no chance of getting that. On those right there, just get back and just cover it up. You don't want to, because, you know, if you go for it here and you don't pick up many yards, you have the chance to punt it and get that field position back.
Unfortunately for Nolan, that takes him under the 100-yard mark for the night. I'm sure he's not worried about the stats as much as he's trying to convert this 3rd and 19. McCullough has Elijah Coker open, but he's going for Kellen Watson, who makes the grab and lands out of bounds, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, a lot of completions tonight where Watson and Coker have gone up over defenders for the ball, but they've been on the sidelines and out of bounds just a little bit.
So 4th down in a punting situation, and now does Keith Kinder start to roll the dice on special teams and maybe go for the block right here?
I think it's one of those things where you got to try to set something up, or maybe even try to actually field the punt and do a reverse maybe or something like that as well. But
you could have stopped to try to actually field the punt, which has been an issue.
I just kept going, you know.
Jack Troyer, Brady Newsom are the deep men. Austin Eisel, end over end kick, and they're going to let it go. And it's going to take a Penn roll inside the 30 to the 22. A 42-yard punt with no return, and Eisel's punting numbers going way up because nobody wants to catch the ball.
Mishawaka Professional Firefighters Local 360 proudly support our Mishawaka area football players. We are here 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to ensure the safety of our community. If you or someone you know is interested in joining our team, call 574-257-0620 or stop by any of our stations.
So Brady Fisher will lead the Cavemen back out onto the field. Since the 10:01 mark of the first quarter, when Fisher scored his 51-yard touchdown, the Cavemen have been shut out in this one.
They had their second drive where they got down and tried a their mid-range field goal, weren't able to come up with any points, and ever since then they really haven't been able to even really sustain any drives.
They were also picked off in the red zone. Here's Novell Miller. Good to see him back in the game, and he gets forward to the 27-yard line. So pick up a 5 on the play for Miller. 15 carries, 48 yards tonight for the junior.
Time for Tees wants to give a shout out to the Penn football team and all the Kingsman Nation. Have a great night tonight and all season. Time for Tees has been handled. Your team's screen printing needs. Visit timefortees.com.
2nd and 6. Mishawaka doesn't get easy next week either as they go on the road to Middlebury and take on Northridge. And the Raiders have been playing well with the lead on Elkhart tonight. Here's Brady Fisher banging forward for a hometown pharmacy first down to the 33-yard line. And Fisher now at 99 yards on 12 carries for the night.
Yeah, Northridge has had some very phenomenal season. Last year, people thought that was kind of a little bit of a fluke, the way they won some of their games and everything. But they are a very good team, very solid. They have solid playmakers as well and guys up front. So that's going to be a very tough task next week.
We'll see them in week 4 against Northwood. And I'm not going to say the atmosphere is necessarily going to be like this one tonight.
It'll be close.
It could be close. Because, by the way, those two schools don't like each other. 1st and 10 from the 33. It's Brady Fisher on the keeper. And he's greeted rather rudely at the 37-yard line, dropped by Tommy Paulus.
I think that's why they neither one can figure out which one's north, you know, with the Northridge and the Northwood, and they're fighting over that north.
It's the battle of the north when they meet. 2nd and 6 from the 37. By the way, nice tackle that time by Paulus, who was an all-NIC linebacker a year ago and probably on his way to that honor again. 3-year starter for the Kingsmen, and of course the son of former Irish quarterback Ron Paulus. Whistles blown and flags thrown and a false start called on Mishawaka, their 7th penalty of the night.
Score big in the real estate game with Ashley Smith at Howard Hanna SB Real Estate, your trusted local realtor for over a decade, helping you find your winning home. Call Ashley Smith at 574-276-7068 today for a free home valuation.
And that expression on the face of Keith Kinder said a lot, didn't it? It basically said, we got a lot to work on and another good team to face next week.
Well, coming into this game, Coach Kinder talked about the physicality of his players and how they needed to be more physical and didn't think they were physical enough last week. Well, coming in here, I think they got a little bit of awakening how physical Penn can be, but I think they've matched it for the most part throughout this game.
Fisher puts one through the hands of Brady Newsom that time for an incompletion. It's 3rd and 10. Other scores, Columbia City has beaten Plymouth tonight, 42-14. Grand Rapids West Catholic laid a whooping on Edwardsburg, 56-12 up at Leo Hoffman Field.
Wow.
LaPorte and Lowell tied at 7 at the half. As we mentioned, Bremen on top of Washington by a count of 42-7. Concord starting to open it up on Jimtown now. It's 27-10 Minutemen. That game late in the 4th quarter. Here's an end around to Brady Newsom. He's got a lot of room to run on the left-hand side. And Newsom will go out of bounds at midfield after picking up a hometown pharmacy first down. Well-designed play there as Newsom picks up 18 on the play. You get another look from R&B Car Company, and Penn over-pursued that time on the defensive end. Marion leading 21-14 at halftime on Culver Academy. Mike Davidson's squad trying to bounce back from their loss to Mishawaka last week. 1st and 10 for the Penn 49. Fisher keeps it himself. Griffith really ripped into him at the 48, and Brady gets up to the 47. Fisher now over 100 yards rushing tonight, actually at 105 now.
Hey, it's time for your Dunkin' Fix. Please visit our newest Dunkin' location in Granger at 12980 State Road 23 in the Martin Shopping Plaza in downtown Granger. Open daily, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I think Steve Moriarty's got a pretty good club at Tippecanoe Valley this year. They lead Rochester in the battle for the belt, 39-8 going to the 4th quarter. LaVille and Triton in a scrap. Lancers lead at 20-16 in the 4th. Here's a pass for Caden Smith that goes off his hands on a leaping effort. Vinnie Freeman had the coverage that time for Penn. Freeman, a young man that finished 6th in the state at 182 pounds in the wrestling tournament last year as a freshman. He got a break there because Smith had a step on him, but was unable to come up with a catch. And it'll be 3rd and 8. And yes, if you're wondering, Freeman, Penn, could he, would he? Yeah, he is the son of Joanna Freeman. And Marcus.
There you go. And Marcus as well. Pretty good wrestler himself.
Very good wrestler. 3rd and 8 from the 47. Flag thrown on the play, and Fisher short hops it. It's a holding call against Mishawaka, and I'm willing to bet Corey Yeoman. Well, I say Corey Yeoman may decline it, but he also knows Keith Kinder is the kind of guy that'll go for it on 4th and 8.
Yeah, looks like he is done to decline it.
Yeah, he will.
4th and 8 versus 3rd and 18. Instead of giving them 2 chances, just give them that one.
So 4th and 8, and perhaps the ball game on the line here for Keith Kinder of the Cavemen.
Canes is in session. Order online at raisingcanes.com or through their mobile app for cook-to-order chicken fingers, crinkle-cut fries, fresh coleslaw, and that buttery Texas toast, and their craveable cane sauce. Big cheer for the new school year at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
4th and 8 from the 47. Fisher to throw. He's looking for Trey Thomas, and Vince Horner. No, it's picked off. Vince Horner going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Penn. His 2nd interception right. And the Kingsmen lead it 27-7. You get another look from R&B Car Company, as Horner has read a couple of Brady Fisher's routes tonight very well.
Just a great job by this Penn defense as well. You can tell Homer's a defensive player holding that ball like a sack of potatoes there. Grab on the end of it when you intercept that ball. But just 2 big picks tonight, and this defense really, really stepping up.
That is his 3rd interception of the season already. Trey Thomas limping off the field, but the Penn defense tonight, after the opening drive, has been terrific. And as advertised, remember we told you at the beginning of the game, 10 seniors on that defense, they play like it.
Yeah, they definitely do. They play together as a team, and they're just so solid. And the way they've really stifled this Mishawaka defense after that first drive really shows you how well they play together, understanding their assignments, understanding their gap responsibilities. Just did a great job tonight.
Dylan Daddario on to try the extra point. The snap is high, but the kick is up, and it is good. 6:48 left in this one. And Penn opens it up to a 28-7 lead, thanks to the defense, and thanks particularly to Vince Horner, who can toot his own horn on the way to the end zone. Kingsman in control on 46. And this edition of the 46 Game of the Week is being brought to you by Tire Rack. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
If you're in Mishawaka, you need to visit the new Mishawaka Historic Museum at 121 South Main Street. They're open Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Relive the caveman glory days. Discover industries, landmarks, and famous Mishawakians at the Mishawaka Historic Museum at 121 South Main Street.
So an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty assessed on the end zone celebration for Penn causes the Kingsmen to have to kick it back at their own 25-yard line, and Brady Newsom hoping he can make something happen out of that. But Penn appears to be on its way to win number 2 of the season, and more importantly for the storyline tonight, win number 200 in the brilliant career of Corey Oman. D'Addario's high spinning kick fielded on the run by Newsome at the 30, and he had a full head of steam as he took a hit and goes down at the 44-yard line. There has been some cracking and a whacking out there tonight, and it continues on the special teams as Malachi Evans came up with a big hit. Mishawaka about to fall to 1-1 on the year unless that man, Brady Fisher, can come up with some sort of miracle.
Really like what I saw out of the Kingsman offense tonight as well. The way they utilized their playmakers, and it wasn't just little things up the middle with the little traps or the handoffs and just the quarterback and then running back. They really spread the ball out, made Mishawaka's defense defend the whole field from sideline to sideline. I really like the way they did that tonight.
They have done a lot of good things tonight. 1st and 10 from the 44 for the Cavemen. It is Brady Fisher keeping it, and Alan Phillips, who's had a wonderful game at defensive tackle, bringing him down after a pickup of 2. A lot of mutual respect between these rivals. These kids played together all throughout elementary and middle school. They know each other very well.
Most of them either played Granger or Rocket, or a lot of these kids are still in that age group where they played a little bit of the Mishawaka tackle football when that was still going on. That's now gone to flag football for the most part.
Fisher on 2nd and 8. Pitches out. Ethan Bryce. This time they're ready for the end around, and Brandon Lynch brings him down. Lynch, the younger brother of Christina from Notre Dame soccer and Ryan from Notre Dame baseball, makes the hit right there.
This game's health tip is brought to you by HealthLink, who reminds you that good vision is the key to success on the field and in the classroom. Schedule a yearly exam at HealthLink today. HealthLink offers medical, dental, vision, and much more.
3rd down and 10 for the Cavemen. And Keith Kinder just waiting patiently. I think he might wind up taking a timeout here. And he will. It's sponsored by Kevin Putz at First Midwest Mortgage.
Big shout out to Kevin for sponsoring the timeouts tonight. If you need a mortgage, make sure you get a hold of Kevin Putz.
5:16 to go in this one. Penn leads at 28-7 on 46. This edition of the 46 Game of the Week being brought to you in part by API St. Andrews. 31 years of success. Before the kickoff tonight, I was speaking with Corey Oman in our pregame interview, and then I decided I'd try to slip in one more question about perhaps winning number 200 tonight. And then if that happens, a coach might get his 200th win. What would that mean to you? Meh, just another game.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, man.
All right,
He can try to shrug it off, but the eyes told a different story, didn't they?
They sure did. As a coach, all the time and all the effort you put in, it's all about the kids. It really is. But to get to that 200 mark and to be among the coaches that he's among, in the Northern Indiana coaches that have coached in this area with the amount of wins they have, it's a special place to be, and he knows that, and he knows he couldn't be there without all of his assistant coaches, all the administration, and all the kids and the work that they put in either.
Oh, the deference that he'll give when he talks about this 200th. Yeah. He will talk about everybody but himself.
Yeah.
Because that's who Corey Oman is. Ethan Bryce with the first down, sponsored by Hometown Pharmacy, as Novell Miller takes it up the gut. Miller breaks a tackle and spins for another first down. Brought to you by Hometown Pharmacy, up to the 32-yard line. Here's a little bit of the grit and the steadiness that Keith Kinder talked about from his team.
Yeah, and they just need to keep pounding and keep fighting. There's a little bit of time left in this game, and you never know. A quick touchdown, a couple onside kicks recovered, and a couple more touchdowns. You're right back in this game. I mean, I said a lot there.
You did. You
and
did.
That's a lot has to happen in 5 minutes
but
as well.
honestly, if you're playing the game, that's a little bit of how you have to think is we're going to still keep playing until the clock hits triple zeros. And if we've got a chance, why not?
Yeah, they just want to have a great finish, just like Imaginary Finishing Technologies in South Bend. They're globally known as the knowledge source for metal finishing solutions. Like the teams in this game, Imagineering is always working toward a great finish.
Look at you. I mean, 18 years ago, I grabbed this raw urchin off the streets and put a mic in his hand, and all of a sudden he's doing segues into spots.
Yeah, you know, it only took 18 years, you know.
It's another overnight success story.
Yeah.
First and 10 for the 32. Hand off to Novell Miller up the middle, and he'll bowl his way for 6 yards. Miller, 16 carries, 54 yards, and a bunch of ibuprofen tonight.
Hammies going to be a little tight. Calves going to be a little tight. You know, that cramping he had a little earlier, but definitely he's had the carries tonight for sure.
What do you do? The ice bath? Is that the thing? Or?
Well, I didn't know about the ice baths until I got to college, and they're definitely worth it. When I was down at Ball State, man, they're getting in that training room and actually getting with trainers that actually knew and developed what you were doing. You know, I mean, it has been 30-some years since I've been in school. A lot has developed since then, but
you're saying there may have been some technological advances.
A little bit, yeah.
On 2nd and 4, Brady Fisher with the carry, and he is close but not quite to the first down. It'll be 3rd and inches for Mishawaka at the Penn 23-yard line. It's early. It's week 2. The tournament is still a full 8 weeks away. But you have to think again that the Cavemen are going to be a factor in Class 5A.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, they're playing one of the top 6A teams in the state of Indiana and stayed with them for a majority of this game until really the last part of this 4th quarter. They were right there and had opportunities.
Here's Novell Miller bowling forward. That's one of the best surges we've seen from that Mishawaka offensive line tonight. Ethan Williams, Edward Rodriguez, and Trevor Went just surging forward to the 17-yard line, and a pickup of 6 for Miller.
I really like the no give up on this Mishawaka Caveman front line right there. You talked about that drive right there. That takes dedication. They're hot, they're tired, they're sweaty. They're getting beat up at this point, but yet they're still going and still plugging away.
Now you're in the red zone, though. Can you bow your neck and actually push it over the goal line? Because this is a proud Penn defense in front of them right now. They'd love to keep this to single digits. Miller again, hauled down at the 14-yard line, a pickup of 3. And this drive by Mishawaka seems to be Keith Kinder saying, I'm not worried about winning the football game right now. I'm not trying to throw it and get back in it or hurry. I want you guys to learn about the physicality that we need the next 10 weeks.
Yeah, because like we said, they're going to need it next week as well. And going into that game, and the NLC has some very physical teams and very physical play, and they need to know that.
2nd and 7. Fisher will keep it himself, still on his feet, and then taken down from behind. Ball popped loose, but I think the officials blew it dead before Vinnie Freeman knocked it loose.
Yeah, I don't see anybody pointing that the ball was ever fumbled before he actually came down. It might have popped out, but.
Well, now there's an officials discussion going on, and Rick Podell says
he's got his fingers up for 3rd down.
Yeah.
And he's just walking away. And
Tommy Paul is trying to change his mind, pointing the other way. That's not going to work. 3rd and 3 at the 10.
Looks like Mishawaka's going to call another timeout here to, actually Penn's going to call this timeout.
Well, again, this is a proud Penn defense, and they want to come up with a goal line stand here and not just give in with 1:24 to go. Reminder, we have 2 radio shows now on Pulse FM to talk about local football. One is The Drive to the Game, sponsored by Tire Rack. That airs Friday nights at 6, and we talk high school football on that show to take you on your drive to high school football games. Then Monday nights at 7, it's the Notre Dame Federal Credit Union Irish Football Fix, as Anj and I discussed the previous week's game, this time with Navy over in Dublin, Ireland, and set the scene for the upcoming game with Tennessee State, but also have an interview that focuses on faith. Last week it was Joe Alt, the Irish captain, with a great discussion of how faith is incorporated into his life. We'll see who we get this week and have it for you Monday night at 7 on your home for 2 new shows, Pulse FM. 3rd and 3 from the 10 for Mishawaka. And it's Miller again up the middle, and he's got the first down, sponsored by Hometown Pharmacy, up to the 5-yard line.
Big job by Miller, just driving and picking up that first down. Give him the opportunity to put some points on the board. We'll give a big shout out to all of our sponsors tonight. With big games, you always have lots of sponsors. We can't do this show without the sponsorships and all the sponsors that we have. I know we had a lot of reads tonight, but again, you have big games, a lot of people want to get on that air.
And we appreciate it, and everybody around knew this was going to be a big game. 8,000 to Everwise Freed Field tonight for this 65th renewal of the rivalry. Novell Miller one more time. Did he get in? No, he stopped at the 1-yard line. Now, Mishawaka does have 2 timeouts left. I would be very curious to see if they don't get in on this play, if Keith Kinder uses a timeout.
Looks like he might even run this all the way down.
And play for 1 play at the end?
Possibly play. There's about a 4 or 5 second difference.
Brady Fisher gets the play call from the sideline. You see the clock, right-hand corner of the screen. That's about the only drama left in this one.
Fisher going to keep it right up the middle.
Yeah, he is. And he didn't get it in. He didn't get in. It's a goal line stand, and Penn wins the football game 28-7. Tommy Paulus and the Penn defense treating it like the game was on the line right there at the end. And they're going to come away with a 3-touchdown win in the backyard brawl. For Corey Oman, his 200th career win. Congratulations to the Hall of Famer. And hopefully we'll have a chance to talk to him on our St. Joe County Police Department postgame show. That comes your way next on the 46 Game of the Week.
Let me know when you're ready. Here with Nolan McCullough and Corey Yeoman. Nolan, Backyard Brawl is back. You guys get a big victory. How does this feel?
Feels great, man. This is everything I've dreamed of as a kid, is playing here against Mishawaka with all my friends I grew up with. I mean, you can't beat this.
That ovation is for your coach getting his 200th career win. What does this man mean to you and your teammates?
We love him. He's everything to us. I mean, ever since middle school when we got here, he's just been everything to us, everywhere.
I know you want to go cheer that fight song, so congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
Coach, Backyard Brawl is back.
Yeah, great atmosphere.
What was tonight like?
Oh, it was great to play again. You know what I mean? I mean, Keith and their kids and their coach staff do such a great job. It's a great. Thank you.
You hear that ovation. What does that ovation for win number 200 mean to you?
Well, I think, you know what, getting a little old, one, and the thing it really means is probably my greatest attribute as a coach. I've always had the ability to surround myself with great people, whether it be players, whether it be Mom's Club, whether it be our great staff, great administration. That's the key. I mean, no one person can pull this off. It takes an army to get this army going, and I've been blessed to be surrounded with great people for a lot of time.
Your players actually had the Gatorade ready to go to try to throw on you, and your assistants a minute ago, guys, it's too early in the season, but it's pretty hot out. You probably would have accepted the Gatorade tonight, wouldn't you?
Well, I tell you what, I know the assistants got my back. I appreciate that. So,
Coach, finally, just 2-0, great start to the year. What do you like about this group as you move forward now the rest of the season?
They compete. Simple. They compete. They're unflappable, and they just keep going. And we made mistakes, and to be honest with you, Mishawaka, hurt us, put us on our heels. But these guys just keep competing, and couldn't be proud of our seniors.
Coach, congratulations on the win, and on win number 200. You deserve it.
Thank you very much, Hans.
That's Corey Yeoman. Back to you guys.
Thanks for watching the WHME TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week, brought to you by
Everwise Freed Field is clearing out after a 28-7 Penn triumph over Mishawaka in the backyard brawl. The Kingsmen, ranked number 9 in Class 6A, stay undefeated on the year as we welcome you inside the Martin Supermarket broadcast booth. Chuck Freeby and Bo Hunt high above the fray. Welcome to the St. Joe County Police Department post-game show. And Bo, an impressive performance by the Kingsmen in really every facet of the game tonight.
Yeah, I thought they really came to play. They were focused. It was that Penn team that has the confidence to, whether you get down early, they just played their game and understood what they needed to do on the field, offense, defense, and special teams.
Key numbers tonight, 2 and 200. 2 touchdowns for Nolan McCullough, 1 running, 1 passing. 200 wins for Corey Yeoman. So there are Raising Cane's player and coach of the game. And they're standing by now with Angelo DiCarlo.
Here with Nolan McCullough and Corey Yeoman. Nolan, backyard brawl is back. You guys get a big victory. How does this feel?
Feels great, man. This is everything I've dreamed of as a kid, is playing here against Mishawaka with all my friends I grew up with. I mean, you can't beat this.
That ovation is for your coach getting his 200th career win. What does this man mean to you and your teammates?
We love him. He's everything to us. I mean, ever since middle school when we got here, he's just been everything to us, everywhere.
I know you want to go cheer that fight song, so congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
Coach, backyard brawl is back.
Yeah, great atmosphere.
What was tonight like?
Oh, it was great to play again. You know what I mean? I mean, Keith and their kids and their coach staff do such a great job. It's a great. Thank you.
You hear that ovation. What does that ovation for win number 200 mean to you?
Well, I think, you know what? Getting a little old, one. And the thing it really means is probably my greatest attribute as a coach. I've always had the ability to surround myself with great people, whether it be players, whether it be Mom's Club, whether it be our great staff, great administration. That's the key. I mean, no one person can pull this off. It takes an army to get this army going, and I've been blessed to be surrounded with great people for a lot of time.
Your players actually had the Gatorade ready to go to try to throw on you, and your assistants a minute ago, guys, it's too early in the season, but it's pretty hot out. You probably would have accepted the Gatorade tonight, wouldn't you?
Well, I tell you what, I know the assistants got my back. I appreciate that. So,
Coach, finally, just 2-0, great start to the year. What do you like about this group as you move forward now the rest of the season?
They compete. Simple. They compete. They're unflappable, and they just keep going. And we made mistakes, and to be honest with you, Mishawaka, hurt us, put us on our heels, but these guys just keep competing, and couldn't be proud of our seniors.
Coach, congratulations on the win, and on win number 200. You deserve it.
Thank you very much, Hans.
That's Corey Yeoman. Back to you guys.
And congratulations to Nolan and Corey, our Raising Cane's player and coach of the game. Raising Cane's, their one love is craveable chicken finger meals. Meanwhile, time now to look at our electrical workers, Local 153, electrifying play of the game. Really 2 we could have had from the second half. Which one are we going to go with?
Well, you got to go with the interceptions. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that really turned the tide of this was Vincent Horner's pick 6. Just a great job. 2 picks on the night for him. Carried the ball a little bit better, Vincent, though. But other than that, just a fantastic job and a big victory for this Penn defense.
The electrical workers of Local 153 making our community brighter, sponsoring our electrifying play of the game. For Penn, they have to turn around and play number 2 Cathedral next week on the road. They'll truly find out how good they are.
They truly will find out how good they really are next week.
Meanwhile, Mishawaka, not an easy bounce back. They got to go to Middlebury, taking a tough Northridge team.
Yeah, they have to go over to Northridge. I think that's one of the things that's going to really define the NLC is next week's game between Mishawaka and Northridge to see where these 2 teams match up and align within that conference.
That'll do it for our coverage here at the Backyard Brawl tonight. Our thanks to our TV46 crew, led by our production manager, Dean Korsmo, and the bubbly one, Tony Beltran, pushing all the buttons and dials tonight. A reminder that we have more high school football coming up next week, but first, Monday night at 7 on Pulse FM, it's the Notre Dame Federal Credit Union Irish Football Picks. Then next Friday, a doubleheader, 4 o'clock from Michigan it's Niles visiting Lakeshore. And then at 11 o'clock in Indiana from School Field, it's the city rivalry in South Bend between South Bend Riley and South Bend Adams. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for all the breaking news. Now from a broadcast partner, the Hall of Famer Bo Hunt and Angelo DiCarlo. Once again, the final, Penn 28, Mishawaka 7. Chuck Freebie saying so long from the Princess City.